Every day when I get here in the morning, this place over here is just a mess.
Really?
And the board is a mess. Stuff's in program. So, like, if people just came in and started talking and the mic was up, you'd be able to hear them. So I get here and the first thing I do is I'm like, turn stuff off. You'd think that would be done already.
No. Morning.
Wancho.
How is everybody?
Good.
Great. Will Bill Belichick be coaching in the NFL in 2024? Is that the poll question?
Unless that guy over there's got something better.
Let's go with it.
It's taken a weird amount of time.
Bunch of breakfast food. Don't get mad at me. Breakfast bar, banana, maybe even some Pop-Tarts will make the survey.
Hey, David, when Phil Jackson took over for the Lakers, was that right? Was that the next season after leaving Chicago? Or was there a gap in there?
Let's see. 98 last season in Chicago. He didn't coach 99. I believe he took over in 2000.
Because that's when they won it, correct?
And then that's when they
three-peated.
Started their three-peat.
Who coached the Lakers before him?
I thought it was Del Harris, but
because I'm trying to equate this Bill Belichick situation to something like that. Like maybe he takes a year off and then goes to coach.
He's old.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, Phil was like 55 when he coached the Lakers.
It's almost a 2-decade difference.
Yeah.
Yes, Mongo. David Sampson was great yesterday. I also got a text from a family friend saying they loved the David Sampson segment yesterday.
He's a sharp guy. And that was a funny segment yesterday.
Did you guys have him on when he was with the Marlins?
No.
Okay.
So Del Harris got let go midway through the season before Phil, and two guys, Bill Burtka for a game and Kurt Rambis for 37 games.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How's your week going? Today's the day where we get over the hump together. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Not a damn thing happened yesterday. Nothing. Zip, zilch. Re-rack yesterday's show. Run it again. Man.
Can we do that?
Well, I think it's called the best of.
Wow.
We could do it. You guys just got to let me know before we start.
I mean, we could rerun that David Sampson segment again. That was entertaining. That was funny.
It was. David was great, but I don't know. We've got a pretty good show today, and we are really, you talk about getting over the hump. Today, David, we are getting over the hump.
Yeah.
Not just with the week, but based on our show with our sports lives.
Well, Mark, all heck broke loose yesterday. I mean, name the sport, something to happen except for golf. And even they had an announcement yesterday. I mean, seriously, it was a tremendous sports day. We have a whole section of our audience, though, that has forgotten what it's like to be a, wait for it, sports fan. They are football fans. And they're going to be tapped on the shoulder today and go, wait, what are you guys talking about? Wait, that's going on? When did that season start? Or when does that season start? Huh, I'll be damned.
But don't worry, football fan. Plenty of football to talk about on the show today. David Bearman, Chief Content Officer at Pro Football Network, will join us.
And we'll
Angelique
find out.
Chengelis will join us to talk about Jim Harbaugh, what's going on with him.
Where's he going? Angelique, what's your next beat? Where are you going? Who are you going to be covering? That's why we have Angelique on the show.
But Rod Blum, who covers the Major League Baseball for AP, will join us, and Keith Smith, one of our favorites, who covers the NBA, will join us as well. So we'll do a little baseball and a little basketball and help start getting you ready to be a sports fan again.
We're waning people off the football.
Whoa.
We're not going to yank you off of it. We're going to wane you.
I disagree. No. There's no waning. There's no waning. We're just adding menus to the buffet. That's all we're doing. No. We're adding to the buffet. We never wane off of football, ever.
It's always your main course, Trent. Don't you worry.
The buffet is the standard fare buffet. 24/7, 365. You can always come to Miller and Moulton and get the buffet. It's just that for a few months out of the year, we experiment with other items. Hey, the McRib is back. That's basically like what we're doing now. Little NBA.
Who's the McRib? Major League Baseball or the NBA?
I think Major League
That could be a poll question.
Wow. That's pretty good.
What is the sports equivalent of the McRib?
Ooh.
That's a great question.
You're not going to like the answer. It's March Madness. Because most people think the college basketball season lasts 3-4 weeks, and they bring the McRib back for basically a month.
The difference is we like March Madness. We hate the McRib.
I was going to ask if you guys even like the McRib.
No, it's I don't even know if I've ever had one.
I haven't.
Does anyone like the McRib?
I think I did when I was younger, when it first came out. I think I tried it, and I know I never went back. I think it left that much of an impression on me.
It's an interesting concept.
Yes, conceptually. All right. I could see where this would actually get to the development stage. What most of us don't understand is how it made it past the taste testing stage. And they actually put it in, styrofoam there and put it on the thing. It's like, wait a minute. It's just, don't you at least have to try this again? This isn't good enough. You can't have people eat this. Wait, we're going to market this? I'd hide this, throw it out. I'd give it to the cats and dogs in the back. Golly. Yeah. So we'd like to proudly welcome our new sponsor to the show, McDonald's.
Good luck with that.
Proud sponsors of Miller and Moulton, who like everything about them except the McRib. Oh, man. But another lesson, Trent. We're never waning off of football. Ever. We're just adding to the buffet. See, he's skinny. Okay. See, he replaced, if I'm going to add this, I need to replace it with this. He needs to take a look at who he's doing the show with. Okay?
I'm a one-plate guy at the buffet. Maybe I got to be more. Now I'm learning, David.
Wait a minute. There's the poll question.
Oh, no. I thought you were going to chastise him for being a one-plate guy at the buffet.
No. I think a large number of people are one-plate people at the buffet. I do.
Why go to the buffet if you're only going to have one plate?
Well, because you stuff it more than you'll stuff it. Listen, don't ask me. My over-under plates at a buffet, minimum 3.5. Minimum 3.5. And I would go over. The real question is it over under 4.5? Am I going to get to a fifth plate? That's the real question at a buffet. Because, 3, please. I come back with 2. When I go up the first time, I come back with 2.
I've got nothing for that.
So then, obviously, I'm going up for at least one more.
Do you fill both plates up the way most people put the one plate? I mean, are these two overloaded plates, or are you one of those people that says, I don't want anything touching my prime rib, so I have a plate with just meat on it?
Oh, no. I mean, my plate looks like jambalaya. No. It's all over each other. Yeah, it's one carb after another. Why do I care if they touch each other? No. So, I mean, we could ask, how many plates do you take at an all-you-can-eat buffet?
David, it's cute. It's nice.
Okay.
I don't know. A better question would really be, when's the last time any of our audience has been at an all-you-can-eat buffet?
Really?
Nobody eats at a buffet anymore.
Really? Have you driven past a Golden Corral? They're packed all the time. I know you haven't.
As a matter of fact, David, I haven't. I couldn't even drive. If you gave me $100 right now and took my phone away from me and said, find a Golden Corral, I don't know if I could.
Oh, you could. There's one 10 minutes from where you're sitting right now.
If you say so. I think I know where one is, but without Waze, I might not be able to get there.
All right. Besides, sometimes, some places that are very nice establishments, all of a sudden on a Sunday, they'll do a breakfast buffet, or they'll call it a brunch. One side's breakfast and one side's lunch. I mean, you can have upscale buffets,
I understand that.
Okay.
The buffet's kind of gone away.
Sure. Well, then, once again, I'm the last person paying cash, reading a newspaper, going to the buffet. All right? That's how I roll. Besides, I'm heading to Kentucky for the next 4 days. All right? Let me count the buffets for you once I get to Kentucky. All right?
Ooh. What happened to Kentucky last night? You called that. You saw that coming. I didn't.
Strongly hinted at it.
You hinted. I give you all credit for that. I got my game right. I would disagree with you because I like the big Z player coming back for Kentucky getting minutes. They've looked good. They got pounded last night.
Guess why? Mark, where were they playing last night?
They were on the road.
In conference. That's a tough place. Wisconsin survives on the road in conference. Hell, Louisville made 2 big runs at Duke on the road in conference. That's why nice win for the Noles last night. Going up to Syracuse, beating a bubble team. Florida State's on a little bit of a roll here. Hamilton's turned it around. They got to put somebody from the ACC in the tournament. Might as well be Florida State. Got a long way to go, though. I'll take it easy.
But you were all over that. I was all over the Lightning on the road last night.
Yes, you were.
Taking on Philadelphia, saying there's no way Tampa's losing back-to-back road games to Detroit and Philadelphia. Too important. And the Lightning got it done last night.
Saw him up 3 spit in the second period. I went, Mark Miller, all over this one. Just as if he broadcast 1,000 or so hockey games, so he knows how hockey teams roll. Saw that one coming. By the way, Ambient in our Twitch chat room, 5 years since my family and I have gone to an all-you-can-eat buffet.
Yeah.
Just, give it an update.
I'm telling you, I might put that up for a secondary poll question. When's the last time you've been to an all-you-can-eat buffet? In the last month, in the last year, in the last 5 years?
Wow.
Well, that'd be like putting up the alien question. It'd probably blow our...
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, if you want to ask, when's the next time Bill Belichick's going to coach in the NFL? 37 people will respond to that. You ask him about a buffet, hundreds will respond. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
But, man, a lot happened yesterday. Hey, should there be I don't know, a rule might be too far. How about an understanding that if you hire a coach, you got to give him more than half a season? No?
Why?
Well, how about if he's got the second best record in the sport? What if they've won 5 out of 6? I mean, I don't know. I mean, Mark, if you're the coach and I'm the quote unquote boss, and I call you into the office and you've gone 5-1 the last 2 weeks, what do you think we're going to talk about?
Honestly, a possible trade. If a GM called a coach in, I've won 5 of my last 6. I'm thinking, all right, we're making a move. They're talking about making a move, and he wants my advice on what the move is we're going to make.
So imagine you're surprised if I looked right at you and said, Millsy, okay, appreciate everything you've given to the organization, but I got to let you go.
Excuse me?
Exactly. Wait, I'm sorry. I slammed the door and the echo. I didn't hear you. What'd you say? Who are we getting rid of?
Me?
Me?
What did I do?
I don't know if you've noticed we've won 5 out of 6, not lost 5 out of 6. Did you get the wrong standings? We're not the Blazers, you know. So crazy day yesterday. Nuts. Got guys who are winning, getting fired. Got guys going into the Hall of Fame. Football coaches being hired and fired. It's a hump day.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh. I'm with you, Shimko. I like sweet potatoes. A healthy buffet. It's an oxymoron. I do think going to a Vegas Caesar's Palace buffet counts. Yes. A buffet is a buffet. Yeah.
Yeah, the last time I was at a buffet was also in Vegas.
You went to Vegas?
Last April. After I finished chemotherapy, that was the big... Went with my 2 best friends from college.
Good. That's
and
awesome.
Tore it up. It was a great time. But yes, the buffet was unbelievable. Also, I didn't realize that you can just bring open alcohol anywhere in Vegas. You can just walk in with your own stuff. Save a lot of money doing that. I don't really know if you're supposed to do that, but they don't.
Not really.
They don't.
Don't they?
No.
Usually you can leave with it. Bringing it in another place is usually frowned upon.
Okay, I didn't know that. Went all weekend without a problem.
Good for you.
Yeah, that's outstanding.
Well, other than that, I do a lot of. I haven't in a while, but Chinese buffet.
There you go. That counts, though.
That's really good.
Well, it's not really good, but it's a lot of volume, so it seems really good. As a buffet connoisseur, I mean, there was this place in Alabama I used to hit on the way to Tuscaloosa, about halfway on the side of whatever that interstate is, 59 or whatever. And I had the owner, like, I had so much General Tso's chicken that he was just kind of looking at me. Like, I did the whole tray myself with lo mein and General Tso's chicken. He was just looking at me like, don't you have somewhere you have to be?
And you're looking at him like, I'm sorry, sir.
No,
This is
as
all
a
you
matter of
can
fact, I left early from the hotel so that I could spend, I blocked off 90 minutes for this, sir. 90 minutes. I'm going to be here so long, I'm going to get my second wind. That's how long I'm going to be here. By the way,
go ahead, David. Sorry.
no, I was going to say, I think there's a Golden Corral on Colonial.
That's where I think it is too. I'd get the shakes if I pulled in.
I'm not a huge Golden Corral guy, but there are times when I'm on the road in which I go, you know, I just feel like grazing. Let's do it. Did it die because of the pandemic?
Yep.
Because that's, you know, Golden Corral nearly went out of business because of the pandemic.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. David Bearman, Pro Football Network. We'll talk to a Major League Baseball AP writer about who got into the Hall of Fame. We'll talk with one of our favorites, Keith Smith. We talked the NBA with him. After all, he covers it. So that's what we figured we'd talk to him about. And, man, wild day yesterday. Nuts. Heat with a significant trade, and that wasn't even the biggest story of the day. And Angelique Chengelis will join us. We haven't talked to her since right before the semis. Heck, Michigan's won a national title, and now they're on the verge of losing their coach to the NFL. We'll talk to Angelique about whether or not Harbaugh's going. Is there anything Michigan can do to keep him? And if not, is it Sharon Moore's job to not get? So that's some of what we have on our plate. And Mark, we've been dubbed the McRib of sports talk radio in our Twitch chat room. And
That hurts a little bit.
I was going to say.
I mean, I have to be. I know we have encouraged snark
Yes.
in the Twitch chat room.
Yes.
And I have to embrace it at times. And there are other times in which snark can hurt. And being called the McRib of sports talk radio is a kick in the groin.
I'll tell you what, I know we've had many possibilities for our poll question of the day. I saw you working during the break. I don't know if you posted one of those ideas as our poll question. I nominate Miller and Moulton were described as the McRib of sports talk radio. Do you take that as A, a compliment, B, an insult?
An insult.
Well, that's how you and I would vote, but I'm just saying, there are people that love it. TB Gator Boys, I don't know, maybe TB Gator Boy, he's the one who dubbed us the McRib of sports talk radio. He may love it. There are people in our Twitch chat room who love the McRib. That for 3 weeks they kill the McRib when it gets reintroduced every year.
People also get really excited for it. That could be the compliment of it. People love listening to Miller and Moulton. They're so excited and jacked up at 5:50 in the morning.
Listen to glass half full over here. Okay, I mean, just. His Lions are in the NFC Championship game. I mean, he's about to tell us what a glorious experience he had battling cancer last year. I mean, that's how happy he is. I mean, it was just, a tough couple of weeks, but I shook it off. Right. I mean, it just, he's the wrong focus group right now. I mean, you have to acknowledge, for as much as we love him, he's not the right focus group. There's no snark in him right now.
None, David. And if his snark is actually positivity, I have started playing my own game that Trent's not even aware of in the morning. Can I say good morning to Trent before he says it to me? Because I don't even get past the door. There's another door that I pass. I walk in, I pass a studio where there's a nice woman who's worked in the industry for years. She works mornings at that station. I say hi to her every morning. Think the world of her. That's my first good morning because she makes eye contact. We say good morning. I have about 15 steps from door to door. I can make 12 steps. I don't even see Trent, and I get, morning, Mark. So now what I do is I walk in the place, and before I say hi to her at the door, I just yell, good morning, Trent. It's the only chance I have to win.
Two Midwesterners going at it.
Yep. He is trying to, get that Minnesota nice over to Michigan. It'll never happen.
Man, oh man, Minnesota nice over there. Hey, did you hear Joe Mauer made the Hall of Fame? Great day. So
and now you talking about every buffet that you've been to this side of the Mississippi.
Which, man, how long's the show? 4 hours? I don't know if we have enough time. Now, of course, the suggestions are coming in as to the food group or place that people think we are. Robert Anderson says, how about if you're the White Castle of sports radio? See, don't say that. That'll hurt Mark. Mark thinks they're awful.
Oh, I've never had a White Castle, David. I can't make a judgment about something that I've never eaten.
It's so horrendous. It's fantastic.
If you say so. And I feel comfortable at 54 not ever having White Castle to safely say I'll never eat it.
Okay, that's fine, because I'll have a sack for you. Every time you think about not having one, I'll have a dozen. How about that?
That's perfect. And I think I'm scorned off of them because I had Crystal, which is the southern counterpart of White Castle. And I had it once, I had it drunk, and I still thought it was awful.
Right. They're not good. They're not. But, they tried. Nothing wrong. It's kind of like the McRib.
Right.
McDonald's tried. And, the thing is, Crystal does it 24/7, 365. McDonald's does McRib for 3-4 weeks.
Well, and here's my main problem with being dubbed the McRib of sports talk radio. That would imply that we're only around once in a while. If there were a show that there are a lot of shows out there, anything associated with Mike Greenberg could be the McRib because he doesn't work that much on his own show. He's done very well. I think he's been great to us. I like Mike Greenberg. I'd love to be in the position where I could have my name on a show and only be there 50% of the time.
It's
That
true.
would be tremendous.
Mike Greenberg and Howard Stern, both fighting to see who can have their name on a show and work it less.
Yes. But the McRib's only around once in a while. We're here all the damn time.
All
You
the
don't
damn
take games
time.
off.
National holidays and everything. Yeah. So it better be a place that serves it year round. So
I mean, White Castle, at least, are they 24/7?
Yes, they are.
That's more our speed.
Right. See, Miller Moulton really, we think of ourselves as a diner.
Like Jay Gunn called it the Waffle House, the Waffle House. I can live with that.
Absolutely, I could live with that.
We got Trent going, morning,
Right.
all the time, which is just like walking in a Waffle House. Doesn't matter the time of day. Morning.
Here's the only thing that's keeping us from being the Waffle House, besides the fact that they're successful and we're not, is that they have shirts and hats. And we don't have merchandise.
We gotta get uniforms.
I mean, think about it. I actually have a Waffle House hat, and I have nothing that says Miller and Moulton on it. Unbelievable. So there you have it. There's a lot of potential for a poll question here. Maybe we'll come up with one good one. I don't know. But we got a lot to kick around. We got coordinators getting hired and fired in the NFL, head coaches being hired, we think. I love what the Raiders are doing, and I'm serious. What has the Chargers' problem been for the last half dozen years? Has it been talent or has it been coaching? Hasn't been talent, right?
No.
I mean, Mark, there's a reason why you're in love with them. Okay? It's not because they're not a beautiful woman that you like looking at. Okay? You adore the Chargers. You think the Chargers are beautiful. The Chargers just managed to stumble while walking down the beauty pageant line and finish fourth out of the money. Right. Okay. So when the GM of the Chargers got fired, we said, well, hell, why doesn't he get a job? He didn't do a bad job. The owner kept hiring the wrong coach. He put good rosters out there for 13 years. Ain't his fault.
Hell, some years teams thought that was the most talented team in the league.
And so I give the Raiders credit. The Raiders were like, oh, man, we had to play against these guys twice a year. We thought they were better than us most every time we played them. How about if we hire that guy? Could you pick our players, please?
Because now we got a coach that the players play really hard for. If we if we raise our talent level, who knows where we could go?
I'll tell you what, I'll make a deal with you. You assemble that roster here, we'll take our chances. What do you say? Oh, I could do that. So we had a lot going on yesterday. 3 newest members to the Baseball Hall of Fame. If you don't know who they are, we will tell you who and who got left out. Next, the starting 5 on Miller and Moulton.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants. all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
But Joey, do you mean the Denny's Grand Slam breakfast? That's a solid staple, by the way. It's not as much food as they bill it out to be, though. You know, you get the impression Grand Slam breakfast. It's more, to me, it's more like a basis clearing double. Okay, what's this place that you guys were asking about? Florizio or whatever?
No, Rodizio. That is
Rodizio.
not a buffet. A Brazilian steakhouse is not a buffet. When I sit at my own table and I don't have to get up to get food, it's not a buffet. A buffet is when you got to get your fat ass up out of a chair,
Exactly.
walk over, and go down a line of food with a bunch of people who've already spit in the food that you're eating.
Okay. I have to admit, I don't know where. I've never stood at a buffet
Sneeze
where
and
somebody
cough and
spit
blah.
in me. As opposed to the restaurant that you're at where the cook and the wait staff are sneezing and coughing all over your food. But
Yeah, pick your poison.
Rather have 2 people doing it than 200.
I'd rather have 200. I figure the other 198 can, you know, all fend each other off. It'll even it out.
By the way, this is what happens when we're not talking as much football. We get a half hour into the show and we haven't talked any sports. It's all been food analogies and, and buffet talk.
See, he's learning how to do a sports radio show now. Okay. Trent, we do about 250 of these suckers, 4 hours. That's 1,000 hours of sports radio.
I know. I think this is great.
Right. You want to talk
16 segments
sports?
a day.
Yeah.
You want to talk
Or no,
sports?
12 segments a day.
Right.
60 segments a week.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If you just made me listen to the last half hour without having any context, I would think this was a middle of July show. But that's fine. It's great. The
See,
people
it's
love
great.
this.
It's great.
It's everything's fantastic.
Finished the playoff yesterday. Took them down in 1. I told you it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Had to resume it.
Had to resume it. Finished on the first hole.
Did you win with a birdie at least?
No, made a par. They both made bogey. One fat. Everybody hit good drives. I stuck one to about 15 feet and just had to lag one up to the hole because no one was inside me for.
Huh. Yeah, Trent, you're gonna learn that doing a sports talk radio show is bowling. You just line them up and knock them down. That's what segments are. You just line them up and knock them down. Some segments are better than others.
sometimes it goes in the gutter. Sometimes you get a spare. Sometimes you get a strike.
Sometimes you lead the 7-10 split and you go,
Yeah.
oh, blank.
Now what?
Hall of Famer Joe Mauer.
You wish there was a restaurant that replicated a school cafeteria for adults? Isn't that called Golden Corral? Besides, you can only go up once in a school cafeteria.
Hey, by the way, Adam, Mark Sanchez did a spot yesterday on Colin Cowherd's show, and he gave Mark Brunell a ton of credit. Go check it out if you, because I think you're a Mark Brunell guy. Just thought of you when I heard that. Okay, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes before the hour. We're an hour away from David Bearman, Pro Football Network. Angelique Chengelis will join us 2 hours from now. In between those two football guests, we'll talk a little baseball and basketball. And if you don't know why, that's what this next segment is for. It's time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
3 newest members of the Baseball Hall of Fame are Adrian Beltre, Todd Helton, and Joe Mauer. Beltre got 95% of the vote, Helton 80, Mauer 76. You need 75% of the Baseball Writers Association of America to vote for you to gain entry into the Hall of Fame. Billy Wagner, who has 1 year left on the ballot, came up 5 votes shy. 5 votes shy. He needed 289. He got 284.
Think he gets it next year?
Yes. Although Ichiro and CC Sabathia are on the ballot next year. CC, remember we said, Mark, 250 is the new 300. CC, 251 career wins. A lot of people think he'll go right into the Hall of Fame. It's very interesting. CC Sabathia, Hall of Famer. Anyway, Gary Sheffield, final year on the ballot, got 64% of the vote. His candidacy can be taken up in a year by the Veterans Committee. Andrew Jones got 62% of the vote. He gained no traction year to year. Carlos Beltran, 57% of the vote. I think Carlos Beltran's a Hall of Famer. He's caught in that Astros cheating scandal, and I think if he wasn't, that he'd already be in the Hall of Fame. And if you take his career is a Hall of Fame career. Great switch hitter. There weren't 3 players better in the playoffs ever than Carlos Beltran. A Gold Glove center fielder, 57% of the vote. As I mentioned, Ichiro and Sabathia on the ballot next year, both expected to get in to the Hall of Fame. Ichiro, the talk is, will he be the first unanimous position player? 3,100 hits in all. That's just in the States.
Right.
That doesn't include the 1,300 hits over in Japan. NBA news. That's right. Number 2 is the NBA. Yeah, that's how crazy of a day it was. We're not even to the NFL yet. The Milwaukee Bucks fired head coach Adrian Griffin. I mean, it's understandable. He's been there 43 games. And they went 30-13, second best record in the league.
It does answer the question for all you listening, though. Who was the last head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks? Because I'm guessing most of you didn't know.
So, the veterans on the team apparently, quote, lost confidence, unquote, in him. And they went to management and they said, yeah, he's got to go. So if you didn't know, Giannis is the head coach and general manager of the Milwaukee Bucks. This is the first. See, this is magic. This is 40 years later. This is magic. The lovable player, the big smile, okay, just, role model. I want my kid to grow up and be like him. Look at him. He's a great guy. He's likable, the whole deal. Yeah, he wants to win, and he'll just step over his mother. to win 43 games, 30-13. Won 5 out of 6. Yeah, he's got to go. Well, it's not like you guys aren't playing for him. Oh, trust me, we're not playing for him. All right, get him out of here.
Winning in spite of him.
Now, here's the funny part. ESPN blew up their longtime announcing team at the end of last year. Now, we all know why. It's because Adam Silver was tired of Jeff Van Gundy and Mark Jackson's negativity. They actually criticized officiating. They actually talked about things they wish the league did better. All right. Adam Silver didn't want that. So he leaned on ESPN and said, get rid of them. ESPN said, well, we're getting rid of them because they both want to still be head coaches, and we don't want to run the risk of losing them. You know, well, we can't have them leave mid-season and go become a coach somewhere.
So who did ESPN hire, David?
Well, they hired Doc Rivers.
That's interesting. Who's Milwaukee's next coach going to be?
Reportedly, it's Doc Rivers. Here's something that actually would bother me if I'm the other teams. Apparently, Doc Rivers had been an advisor to Adrian Griffin throughout the first part of the season, because apparently there were problems and Griffin had never coached before, and he had been an assistant under Doc in Boston and elsewhere. And so, I mean, can you be the lead announcer for a network and be advising one of the teams in the league? That would seem to be a conflict. No? Is it me? Anyway, so reportedly Doc Rivers has been hired. CNN's reporting that. All right. And that's going to happen. Yeah. So they can't hire Van Gundy back. He's an assistant in Boston. I saw him 2 weeks ago in a hotel in Indianapolis with the Celtics. Now, they can hire Mark Jackson back, I guess. That was the biggest NBA story, but it wasn't the only one. The Heat made a significant trade. They traded Kyle Lowry and his expiring contract and a 2027 first-round pick to Charlotte for 29-year-old Terry Rozier, who's averaging 23 points a game.
Having the best year of his career.
Short term, it's an unbelievable deal for the Heat this year. They actually saved $15 million against the cap for this year, and they carve out a $6 million trade exemption for this year. It's amazing. Now, mentioned, Lowry's contract was coming off the books after this year. Rozier is on the books next year for $25 million, and if he plays in a certain amount of games, either this year or next, his $26.6 million contract is guaranteed for 2026. So, great trade for the Heat in 2024. Rozier needs to keep playing at this level for it to be a really good trade for them in 25-26. I love this deal for the Heat. Love it.
Add some scoring that they need with Hero and Butler. One thing I was reading about it, David, is Rozier's great in the two-man game with Bam. They can tie him up with Bam, that he's very good in the two-man game. So yeah, everything points to this being a very positive trade for the Miami Heat.
And significantly younger than Lowry, who's in his mid-30s. Rozier 29. Love the deal for the Heat. I think they got a steal. Charlotte's going to trade Lowry and get an additional pick for him. The lottery pick, by the way, the pick is lottery protected in 2027. It's not protected in 2028. So if by chance the Heat fall off the face of the earth in about 3 years, Charlotte could get a really good pick out of the deal. 5 games in the NBA last night. Knicks rallied in the fourth to beat Brooklyn 108-103. Jokic with a triple-double, 31, 13, and 10. Denver beat Indiana by 5. New Orleans beat Utah by 29. Mark, you don't see this very often. Portland lost by 2 at Oklahoma City and protested. Portland's up 1, 15 seconds to go, and Chauncey Billups, our head coach, is screaming for a timeout. And the official's right there and doesn't give it to him and calls a travel on the Blazer who's trapped in the corner with the ball. Billups loses his mind, gets a technical, then gets another one. Oklahoma City hit one of the two technical free throws, scored 111-109. Portland's protesting. The officials released a report and basically said, I didn't see him. We didn't know. Tough to be him. I don't know if it was in that tone of voice, but that's how I read the statement, Mark. And no LeBron, no chance for the Lakers. They lost to Kawhi and the Clippers by 11. Kawhi with just his second ever triple-double, 25, 11, and 10. He's played almost every game this year for a guy who hasn't played much in the last 2 years. College hoops, 6th-ranked Kentucky went on the road in conference. South Carolina beat them by 17. Hey, give it up to Texas. You know, they stopped whining about UCF beating them. They went to Oklahoma, beat the Sooners by 15. Oklahoma's ranked 11th in the country. Duke survived Louisville by 14 on the road. Wisconsin edged Minnesota, 7th straight time they've beaten the Gopher, 61-59. Mark, Michigan lost to Purdue by 32 last night. They're like 7-12 or something.
Yeah, they're terrible.
I mean, what the heck? Is he going to survive this? I know he's Juwan Howard and all, and I don't know if anybody really cares because they won the football national championship. But man, they lost to Purdue the way, like, you know, Eastern Kentucky and Jacksonville, 2A Sun teams who went to Purdue lost at Purdue. I mean, come on. NHL, Lightning double up the Flyers 6-3. Kucherov with a hat trick. The Flyers, by the way, gave an indefinite leave of absence to their starting goalie, Carter Hart. Did not give a reason why. Dallas edged Detroit 5-4. Vegas did the same to the Islanders 3-2. Rangers blew a 2-0 third period lead in San Jose and lost to the Sharks in overtime. And Edmonton won their, 13th? 14th in a row. Longest winning streak for a Canadian team in NHL history. I don't know if you're all aware, but the Montreal Canadiens are located in Canada. Tennis, the second seed on the women's side, Sabalenka advanced. She's going to face Coco Gauff in the semis. 4th seed, Jannik Sinner advanced. He'll face Djokovic on the men's side in the semis. This just in, Djokovic, once he gets to the semis in the Australian, has never lost. He's 20-0. Semis and finals. Djokovic is in the semis.
And this Skinner is playing really good tennis right now. He's red hot coming into it, so that'll be interesting in that semifinal.
So do you start engraving the trophy or no? Do you hold off? Golf, remember the match? You know, it used to be Tiger and Phil, right. And then it was, you know, they brought in celebrities. They decided to go LPGA, PGA. It'll be Lexi Thompson, Rose Zhang will be the 2 LPGA players. Rory and Max Homa will be the 2 American players. So you can't put Scotty Scheffler on TV for 3-4 hours. He's too boring.
They went Homa.
He's got a personality.
No, I know.
Right. Come on, Scotty Scheffler. Are you serious?
No. I just JT. I mean,
that's true. Spieth.
That's where I would have leaned. Homa's a surprise to me over those 2 players, David.
They'll tape it at the end of February over in West Palm Beach. By the way, the par 3s, the women will play the same tees as the men on the par 3s. On the pars 4s and 5s, they'll play their tees, and the men will play theirs. And finally, Mark, Uga 10 died. Now, he had been retired after winning the 2022 national title. They had already moved on to Uga 11. But Uga 10, who had the job for over 8 years, passed away. He was 10. And Georgia released a statement. No, I'm not joking. Georgia released a statement in which they said he was a really good dog. DAWG.
Damn right.
Yeah.
That dog won a natty.
I was going to say they had a lot of success under Uga 10.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the Eagles fired their offensive coordinator. And the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh had a second meeting, and there are some reports that they're negotiating a contract. So, yeah, we got that going on. See, there is sports besides the NFL. You're just not happy about it. That's all. And at 8 minutes before the hour, that was
the Starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
Raiders hired Tom Telesco to be their general manager. He used to be the Chargers GM. See? So there's stuff going on.
I'm really curious what's taking the Chargers so long to get this done with Harbaugh.
Did the takeout not arrive? Are they hungry? Are they waiting to eat? I don't get it either. I mean, you can't let them leave the building, right?
No.
I mean, are they pitching a tent? Are they catching a few Z's? I mean, what's the problem?
Is there any chance they pull a Vikings here and they choke? And Harbaugh just says, to heck with this, I'm out. This is taking too long.
I think there's a better chance of Harbaugh nixing the Chargers than there is of the Chargers nixing Harbaugh. Chargers are under a lot of pressure to hire a name coach.
And I don't know if Harbaugh deep down has, a thing that wants to keep him at Michigan forever. And he's using this to negotiate his immunity deal at the University of Michigan to stay there. But I don't know for the life of me why the Chargers haven't got this done yet. Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening. Florida Sports Network.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd, with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. We're listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. David, no one's been to a buffet in the last month so far, just to let you know.
Is that the poll question?
That's the one I put up so far. I'm going to put the Belichick one up. We haven't even discussed the Belichick one, so I didn't want to put it up until we discussed.
Yeah, we could save that.
Okay.
All right. When is the last time you've been to an all-you-can-eat buffet? Let's see, where was I? Oh, it was late December.
So someone's been there in the last month.
Mhm. 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 You're going to love my answer. Uh, Samson mentioned us yesterday? You can't do that too often. He'll get in trouble with his agent.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this hump day. Let's get over it together, shall we? Thanks so much for being with us. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Heck of a show lined up for you, if we do say so ourselves. David Bearman, Pro Football Network, in a little over 30 minutes. We'll talk Major League Baseball, who got in the Hall of Fame, who didn't, with Ron Blum of the Associated Press in an hour. Keith Smith, who covers the NBA. Big day yesterday. Significant trade made by the Heat. Head coach fired from a really good team. And Angelique Chengelis will join us.
Sorry, I think it's interesting, the firing of the coach and them all saying, well, the defense, the scheme's not right. They got Lillard, right? He doesn't play defense, right?
And
they're expecting the team to play this great it doesn't make a lot of sense to me, David.
Well, also they traded away their best defender in the deal.
Right.
Who then got immediately shipped to Boston. So, yeah, they got better offensively and got worse defensively. And they were not a good defensive team last year. So yeah, he got blamed for their defense. Does Giannis play defense? I mean, Lopez is slow as heck. Dame doesn't play defense.
Nope.
I mean, what do you expect? Yeah, they're not going to be a good defensive team. At best, they'll be average. Besides, who can play defense in this league anymore? You breathe on someone, it's a foul. I mean, I don't know. I'm serious. I don't know. Tom Thibodeau came out, the head coach of the Knicks, a week ago, said, I don't know how you play defense in this league anymore. He goes, they can find me all they want. I don't know. He goes, I'm a defensive coach. I have no idea how to play defense in this league right now. None. I have no idea what we can do.
So just found that to be there are so many facets of any time a coach is fired, but just to me, the blaming of the no defense and the team making calculated decisions to get worse defensively in the offseason, and you blame your coach mid-season, I don't understand it.
But once again, the veterans on the team, I mean, they went right over the coach. They went right to management. They said, yeah, this guy's got to go. And management went, okay. All right. Now, ESPN's going to look really foolish here. I mean, they blew out Van Gundy and Mark Jackson. And they literally said, because they couldn't say the real reason. I mean, they couldn't say because the commissioner of the league hated him and basically leaned on us for years to get rid of him. And we finally said, okay. And so they go and they get Doc Rivers, who, by the way, when he got fired from the Sixers last year, said, I'm not done coaching. But when they got rid of Van Gundy and Jackson, they said, well, you know, these guys have been trying to get back into coaching, and we just couldn't afford if all of a sudden one day mid-season they left us to go coach. Mark, who's the new coach of the Milwaukee Bucks?
Doc Rivers.
There you go. Who all but said when he got fired in Philadelphia, I'm still looking to coach. So it's a bad look for ESPN. If you're Mark Jackson and they call you, do you say yes? Or do you tell them to stick it?
Well, you and I would probably go with option B.
Yes. Yes. But he'll probably put it on mute and then say a few things, and then he'll say, yeah, call my agent. So, anyway, that was the big story in the NBA yesterday. 21,000 is the text line. Think it's unfair to get rid of a coach halfway through a season? His first season, by the way. They're winning. And they're tied for the second best record in the league. They're 5-1 in their last 6. I mean, how bad can things be? So you're the 2 seed behind the Celtics. Okay. Isn't that what you were last year? What am I missing? I didn't think the regular season counted. I thought we were killing time before the playoffs. What's the problem? Man, very uptight in Milwaukee all of a sudden.
Right. It's not like they didn't get a title a couple of years ago.
Right.
I mean, it would be one thing if they don't have the title.
Right. Totally. Yeah. I mean, if they were the Bills and some of the NFL teams we talked about, in which you're like, listen, I got to make a move. I don't think we'll ever win it with you. 43 games. Before the All-Star break? You hired a guy you didn't even give him to the All-Star break, and he's winning? Man, that is something.
David, I think you said it best when you said the real coach in the Milwaukee Bucks is Giannis, because
Well,
this is
he's not just the coach. He's the general manager.
Yeah, he said he wanted Dame. They went out and got Dame. This is how it works in the NBA. We all know this, right? LeBron gets to choose who the coach is. So does Giannis, evidently.
Well, by the way, okay, no, this is the biggest power move we've seen in a long time. And remember, LeBron tried this 18 games in with Spoelstra in Miami. LeBron went to Riley and said, yeah, this ain't working. And Riley said, well, you better figure out how to make it work because he ain't going anywhere. And obviously they did. And LeBron looked right at him and said, I'd really like for you to be the coach. And Riley's like, yeah, those days are over. I did that once. I did that to Stan Van Gundy. I ain't doing it to Spoelstra. I'm done. Go back to practice.
But like you mentioned, this is not a new practice in the NBA.
No.
This has been happening since Magic.
But let's be honest. Okay, Giannis has the halo image.
Yeah.
Okay, the great smile, the nice guy. Okay, does autograph sessions forever, brings young kids to tears with his kindness, gives away sneakers walking off the court, modest, doesn't give the impression of being a big ego superstar. And he went right up to the top floor and said, he's got to go. I'm just telling you. Yeah, I know I'm under contract for 3 more years, and in theory, there's nothing I can do, but I can play like crap, and I'm not going to play for him anymore. Huh. Okay. You know what would be great if we found out that maybe this took place like 2 weeks ago, and then they went 5-1, and they still fired him. I mean, Mark, come on. You and I have been doing this for a while. They're the second best record in the league. They're 5-1 in the last 2 weeks.
I know at least one of them was against Detroit, so that doesn't even count.
Listen, I think most everybody listening's been fired. Has everybody listening been fired? All
Except for Trent.
If not, well, he doesn't count yet. I mean, 24. I mean,
right.
Come on. He's very little. Plus, this is what, second job in this business?
Right.
I mean,
by the way, just so you know, of the 5 wins, 1 was against the Celtics.
They destroyed them, didn't they?
Beat them by 33.
Right. Celtics playing the second of a back-to-back.
Yeah, so they beat the Celtics, Golden State, who's a dumpster fire, Sacramento, who's a good team, got killed by the Cavs, and then won back-to-back games against the Pistons. Just for what it's worth.
And by the way, the game against Cleveland, Giannis didn't play.
Right.
That's because apparently he was meeting with the general manager and the owner. But honestly, I mean, could you imagine what the headlines would be like today if this happened to Darvin Ham and the Lakers? What people would be saying about LeBron?
Switch sports. This is damn near Sirianni getting fired at 10-1.
Yeah. Which it looks like they're not going to do.
But you know what I mean.
Right.
And or a team's off to it's before the All-Star break. We're just about halfway done. So this is a team that's 6-2 in the NFL.
Right. This isn't like the Celtics coach who got fired because he was having an extramarital affair with a staffer. And apparently someone who, married to someone more prominent than him in the organization. So, I mean, that's why he got let go. I mean, there's no indiscretion here. Why'd you get rid of him? We're not good enough defensively. It's the NBA. Who is? Really? Wait, and who are you hiring? Doc Rivers? I'm sorry. How much success has he had lately? I mean, if you guys want to lose in the second round, he's your coach.
David, so funny you say that. I'm driving in this morning and I'm listening to the 4-letter network's overnight sports center.
Right.
And Wojnarowski they played a clip of him and, well, Doc Rivers has made the conference semifinals the last 2 years. I nearly drove off the road.
The conference
semifinals.
AKA the second round.
Right.
AKA there's still 8 teams left in the whole race. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's also the leader of all time with 3-1 blown leads as a coach.
Exactly. Now, one of them was in Orlando when he was the 8 seed and they got up 3-1 in a best of 7 and lost. But yes, he's with the Sixers and with the Clippers. He's been up 3-1, favored to win series and lost. Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, everybody loves Doc. I get it. And he won a world championship with the Celtics. By the way, Tom Thibodeau handled the defense.
But the other thing is that, all of Doc's assistants are working.
Right.
So he's going to inherit a staff that he doesn't know. I mean, it's not the usual situation when you go hire a Doc Rivers and he gets to choose his assistants in the offseason. That's not what's going on here.
Besides, like Giannis and Dame are going to play defense for Doc. Play defense for anybody. Lopez moves like Edie at Purdue. I mean, I'm driving down the lane now. I mean, it's slow.
Catching strays as we talk about Doc Rivers and his defense.
Remember, Trent, this is a show full of snark.
I love it. No one likes snark directed at Purdue basketball like your boy over here.
Oh, that's right. I forgot where it was headed. So, I don't know. Just struck Miller and Moulton as odd.
Really odd. But, and the grand scheme of things, we probably shouldn't find it that odd because stars get what they want. And Giannis got what he wanted.
Miller and Moulton. So, Trent Bally and the play of the day coming up here on Miller and Moulton.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Wow, what a point. Alcaraz got beat 6-1 in the first set. And he's up a break.
6-1, you said?
Up, yeah. He lost the first set 6-1, and now he's down a break in the second set.
Damn.
To Zverev.
Zverev,
rather. Finn's Brett is asking you what your hostility towards Purdue basketball is.
Oh, I mean, I just, conference rival.
That's what I thought.
They're a joke of a program. I mean, they're good every year, and they never, ever actually live up to expectations.
Wow. How about that, Finn's Brett? Take that. Bam, bam. The left and a right.
I mean,
they're a joke of he slipped there a joke of a program in there.
Maybe not that far, but
wow.
as far as underachieving, I don't know if there's another team or program in all of sports like Purdue basketball.
You mean that in a positive way?
Well, they're always good.
Yeah.
And they always have expectations, and they always fail. When was the last time they met expectations? 1980?
How many times, first off, how many times in the last 40 years has the expectation been that Purdue go to the Final Four?
They've been a one
final. How many times have they been a 1 seed?
I would guess 4 or 5 times over the last 10 years. How about a top 3 seed?
Well, hold on now. Hold on. Expectation of a Final Four is you got to be a 1 or a 2 seed. I would say in the last 40 years, Purdue's been a top 2 seed 4 times.
Okay. They're favored to win the Big Ten every other year.
Well, and they do. I mean, listen, there's no doubt they've underachieved in the tournament.
I mean, they lose in the first or second round, it seems like every single year. So that's all I'm saying. And again, I have a friend who goes there or went there. So like I can appreciate, and he was a manager on the men's basketball team, so I can appreciate the tradition, and it's Indiana, and it's a big deal down there. You can't take Purdue basketball seriously until they actually do something in the tournament. Seriously. So they have done nothing. They have
underachieved. They have underachieved in the tournament. Even Katie only got to 1 region final, I believe.
Yes. Painter, I think 2 Elite Eights. I'd have to check that, but I mean, come on. Oh. Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. David Bearman of Pro Football Network to join us in a little more than 15 minutes time on what was a very busy day and night in the sports world. We'll talk who got in the Hall of Fame and who got left out with Ron Blum of the Associated Press in about 40 minutes. Mark, quickly, because we haven't spent much time on it. Beltre, Helton, Maurer in, Wagner, Andrew Jones, Gary Sheffield out. Your thoughts?
Well, Beltre was an obvious one that was going in. I was, when I started reading that Maurer was going to be a Hall of Famer on the first ballot, I was surprised. I didn't think that was going to happen. But based on everything I read the week leading up to the votes, it was a no-brainer to the voters.
Even though he barely got in, all right, his total was less than that of Helton's. Helton got just under 80%. Maurer got 76.1. What to me is fascinating about Maurer, Mark, and you and I both know because, you still live in Twins spring training country. And I worked in Fargo, which is Twins country, and then did 23 years in Southwest Florida, is that If you ask Twins fans, is Joe Mauer a Hall of Famer? I don't think he gets 75% of the vote.
I don't either.
And I'm not saying this in a disparaging way, but there are parochial fan bases, and then there's Minnesota. They love their own. There is no, if you have anything to do with Minnesota on your resume, they want you to get the job. And Joe Mauer was there, didn't play anywhere else. Chose baseball over Florida State football. I mean, Joe Mauer was theirs. He was their all-star representative, the whole deal. From St.
Pete, right?
St. Paul.
Or St.
Right.
Paul, rather. I'm sorry.
And yeah, I mean, he's theirs.
I had a Rays moment there.
And ask Twins fan about Joe Mauer, and it is fascinating, their response. The first part of his career, oh, without question, Hall of Famer. My goodness. I mean, 3 batting titles, and as a catcher, but didn't have any power. Then got hurt, couldn't be a catcher anymore. And this is why it doesn't resonate with Twins fans, Mark. He got hurt right after he got the contract. And what did ownership do to Mauer? They put Mauer in a bad spot. They basically said, well, we don't have any more money for anybody else. So they had like Mauer and Morneau and, had to trade away, their best pitcher to the Mets, who's the only guy who beat the Yankees in the playoffs in the last 20-something years. Yohan Santana. I mean, he was a true number one. He'd go out and beat anybody. And they had to trade him away. Couldn't afford to keep him. Why? They signed Mauer. And Twins fans like, yeah, it's great. Like David Sampson said yesterday, he goes, a great player, but we never went into a series saying we can't let Joe Mauer beat us. I mean, you didn't fear Joe Mauer. But his numbers as a catcher, I mean, 3 MVPs and he was good defensively before he got hurt. But then he spends, the last third of his career, Mark, as a singles hitting first baseman, making $25 million.
But you can't ever equate the salary with the production. And that's when you're looking at a Hall of Fame. You can't throw what he made in there and use that against him. It's not his fault that they paid him. It's not his fault that he got hurt and still got paid.
But you have to admit, it's a fascinating case study. You and I have spent a lot of time around Twins fans. Is there a single guy who's gone into the Hall of Fame in which you're like, well, I don't think his fans would have put him in? But it's honestly, the out-of-town writers, they're like, oh, yeah, it's obvious. It's like, you haven't talked to a Twins fan.
And then Helton was the question of, would the Colorado numbers skew that? And they didn't.
I mean, it took a while. He didn't go in first ballot. But I think once Larry Walker got in a few years ago, you knew Todd Helton would get in. Once we knocked down that Coors Field barrier with Larry Walker, then you thought, well, I mean, what did Todd Helton hit? 316 or something like that? I mean, damn. That's the thing. Mauer, career 305 hitter. I'm telling you, his numbers, 3 MVPs, a career 300-plus hitter, the All-Stars. He played catcher for most of his career. I know, on paper, you look at his resume and you go, that's a Hall of Famer. Ask a Twins fan.
Could you argue, though, that does, I mean, he got in with a 76% on the first ballot. So if he didn't get in on the first, he would have got in on the third.
Oh, he would,
fourth.
Yeah.
And would you feel differently if it took a little longer?
So, no, I not me. And I think David's the same way here. We actually are the other way. What the hell? What are you proving by not playing that gets you more votes?
You're either a Hall of Famer or you're not.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and the only excuse that, sorry, Mark, the only excuse that a baseball writer has to Miller and Moulton is you only get 10 spots on your ballot. We use the Pro Football, which they've got 15 semifinalists, and we look at them and we go, I think I'd vote for 13 of them. All right. That's to us is the only excuse to a baseball writer as to why it is you didn't vote for a guy at certain points and now you're voting for him. It's like if they say, well, I didn't have enough room on my ballot. Okay.
Yeah. I vote for 10 every year and he didn't make my 10. But typically these guys don't vote for 10. They vote for 2 or 3. There's no more vanity in sports than the baseball writers when it comes to the Hall of Fame.
And again, I'm probably a little biased because I grew up watching him play a ton of series against my team as a kid, at an impressionable age. And like David said, if you look at the resume,
it's a no,
get in at 76%. I think
no doubter.
I think it's kind of
doubter,
of course.
No doubt. I mean, in terms of credentials as a catcher, there aren't a handful of guys who've ever caught who've had better resumes. So, and it's another thing that helped him was that he spent the majority of his career at catcher.
David and I would both put Andrew Jones in.
Yes.
And he's not gaining traction.
No, same vote basically as last year, 62%.
And it's obvious that A-Rod's not getting in.
No, 30-something%. He's not gaining traction either.
Not at all.
All right, Trent, what do you got?
We're going off the board today. This will be fun. We're going to go to Amherst, Massachusetts for some A10 college hoops. It's the home UMass Minutemen. They're 2.5-point favorites hosting the St. Joseph Redhawks, or just the Hawks, excuse me. Both teams with an identical 12-6 record, so this one's coming down to it. Hawks down by as many as 13, but some heroics from Eric Reynolds with 31 points and Lynn Greer with a gritty take for the win.
10 seconds. Greer attacking, going to the basket, 6 seconds. Layup on the 10, missed it. Greer comes down with it, shot off the glass. 1.4 left, and UMass fires the ball at the other end of the court. No time left, and the Hawks have come back from 13 down here at Amherst.
I love the mid-major madness, excitement. Get ready for it. Hawks 78, Minutemen 77. That had to be a fun bus ride home. And there's your play of the day presented by Molly Maid.
Call Molly Maid today. 239-774-5839. 239-774-5839.
By the way,
hear that color guy?
Yeah.
Oh my God. He called the basket going in. I would have elbowed him in the mouth. I would have gotten a technical foul for that.
By the way, nice wins for Florida State and UCF in college hoops last night. Also, Florida State by double digits on the road at Syracuse. UCF by 13 at home against West Virginia. There. That little hoop madness. Get ready, Mark. Get ready. Trent's going to shove it down our throat for the next 5 weeks.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. David? No, he doesn't have the headsets on. Of course not. He's eating. So, do you follow Steve Politi on Twitter?
No, and I should. I don't believe I do.
The headline from his column today is Devils GM can't wait much longer to address his team's glaring weakness.
Mark, what is that weakness?
It's a goaltender.
Thank you, Mark.
You guys have been saying that for like months.
Listen, Trent, come on. It's glaring. It's been glaring.
I just love that you guys have been on that. And now people are starting to come around on it and write.
Well, and with Cassidy, they played, did you see Cassidy's comments, David? After they lost to the Devils?
No.
Looked like a beer league team out there tonight. They lost 6-5 in overtime, and he said his team looked like a beer league team. No Seth today, Johnny Mack. He has got some things he had to take care of.
Martin, I hear you, but that would be like keeping Randy Moss out of the Hall of Fame because of his Raiders years. Plus, I don't know, 400 home runs. I mean,
Martin's been on this. Martin doesn't like Andrew Jones.
Well, and that's fine.
I mean, because it's been every time we say it, you have a similar comment, which is fine. Obviously.
And, right now he's not getting in.
Also, Finn's Brett. I wasn't able to read the comments when all the Purdue talk was going, so I didn't know you're an alum. I was a little harsh. I apologize. I'm not trying to trash your alma mater. Just the basketball team.
4 MLB players have an all-time 10-plus Gold Gloves and 400 home runs.
How many?
4 Major League Baseball players.
Right. Okay.
It's Willie Mays.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mike Schmidt.
Mm-hmm.
Ken Griffey Jr.
Mm-hmm.
And Andrew Jones.
Right.
I'm sorry.
I know. That's where we're coming from, Martin.
David's ready to go. David Moulton, David Bearman, David Sampson.
Miller and Moulton. We're big on rhyming and alliteration.
It's worked out all right for you guys.
All right. By the way, Alcaraz is getting smoked.
6-1, 6-3.
Zverev on a roll. Okay, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes before the hour. Ron Blum of the Associated Press. We'll talk who got in the Baseball Hall of Fame and who didn't and why, and who he liked and who he didn't in terms of the final voting. Keith Smith in 40 minutes. Big day in the NBA yesterday. Heat with a significant deal. Coach got fired of the second best team in the league. What? And Angelique Chengelis an hour from now. Jim Harbaugh, is he leaving? And if so, who's replacing him at Michigan? Our poll question, when's the last time you went to an all-you-can-eat buffet? By the way, my answer is last month, West Lafayette, Indiana, 4 plates. I crushed it.
Mine's in the last 5 years. I've not been to a buffet in the last year.
David Bearman of Pro Football Network, profootballnetwork.com. David, before we talk about the heavy stuff, when's the last time you went to an all-you-can-eat buffet?
4 days ago.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Mongolian barbecue, all you can eat place where they literally cook it right there in the center place. You put it all on your plate, pile it up, food, and then they on the thing and cook it right in front of you. Then they give it back to you, and you go sit down, and then you go back up about 17 more times.
Yes!
Wow. Now, see, that sounds good. The whole cook it in front of me, I'm into.
Beautiful. Whole bunch of raw food, pile it, and then they dump it right there and cook it, and then you go back to your seat. Beautiful.
Mongolian barbecue. Now I'm intrigued. Now I'm intrigued. All right. Before we get to all the games, is Belichick going to coach next year? Is someone going to? I mean, is Atlanta going to get this done and hire him? Is Belichick going to have to sit a year? What's going on?
The last I heard was it was in his court, and then of course last night the Athletic came out with an article that said that the tone is changing in Atlanta as to whether they want Belichick or not. You never know what to believe. It's that season, even before the season. Normally the rumor season is draft season, but it's now started with coaches even earlier. I thought it was a done deal in Atlanta because that's where he went. They interviewed him twice. How do you interview Bill Belichick twice? I would love to know what the interview questions are, by the way. You know, the guy has 6 rings on. Does he walk in with all 6 rings on and that's my resume? I don't know. But it looks like whatever momentum that had has slowed. And I don't know if it's Atlanta a little bit overboard and making sure they have the right guy, which I think is ludicrous. If Bill Belichick wants to be there, you go with Bill Belichick. Or if it's Belichick saying this isn't the place for me, or if it's Richie McKay. There's a lot of factors there. And at the end of the day, it's Atlanta being Atlanta. Falcons are going to Falcon. But it looks like, hey, guys, Belichick's your guy. Bill Belichick's your guy. This is not something you sleep on. Am I right?
Well, you and I and, Mark, Miller and Moulton agree with you, but there are a lot of people that are wondering if, maybe his time has come and gone. He's in his early 70s, and it's like, listen, he had his time. I'm not sure he's a great coach anymore. You obviously don't describe to that theory, correct?
No, I don't. And I know there's a lot been said, Belichick with Brady, Belichick without Brady, and those numbers are the numbers. But you didn't just lose Tom Brady. You also lost a lot of other things like Gronkowski, your coordinators. A lot of things changed in New England, as well as Belichick, the GM, Belichick, the head coach. So if I'm Atlanta, I'm hiring Belichick, the head coach, the guy who has won 6 Super Bowls, and even before that was an outstanding defensive coordinator for many Super Bowl teams in New York and elsewhere. I think hire Belichick the coach and say, all right, Belichick the GM, your days are over. You obviously lost that touch because New England is not just a team without Brady. New England is right now a horrible roster. You missed the last couple of drafts, and their accumulation of this is the tax you pay for the 20-something year run that you went on with 6 Super Bowls. I still think he's the best coach in the league, and I don't understand, and I'm with you guys, how that's not an automatic thing. There should have been teams lined up at his door in Foxborough to hire him the day that the press conference was announced where he wasn't coming back. Even if you think he's too old, I mean, we have presidents that are in their 80s. I think somebody can coach in their 70s. We've proven that before. And guy who, by the way, Atlanta is a very talented roster with pieces that Belichick wishes he had in New England. To me, I'm with you guys. I hire the guy the NFL is a league. If you haven't done it, you're fired anyway. So whether he's 72 or 52, you're only going to have him 2 to 4 years anyway.
Well, we're all in agreement there. Buffalo has a Kansas City problem. Is it Sean McDermott's fault?
I've never been a Sean McDermott fan. We've discussed this on the show before. I mean, that's a game you have to win. This is an opportunity, and Adam Beasley from Pro Football Network wrote about it on Sunday night. Is Buffalo going to have a better chance to go to the Super Bowl than in a year where to rally against a Dolphins team that was decimated by injuries, a Kansas City team that isn't as good as they were before, a Cincinnati team without Joe Burrow, a Jags team that just collapsed down the stretch? So are they going to have a better chance having Kansas City at home in Buffalo? No. And I would make the change at the top. I don't think Sean McDermott's a very good head coach. We've talked about this weeks ago. I know they went on a great run, but even during that great run, there were still things exposed. Josh Allen can't take care of the ball. The defense is leaky, questionable play calling, questionable stuff around everything else on the field. A fake punt to DeMar Hamlin, not the play I would have called. But at the end of the day, this is a team that cannot get over the hump, and it starts at the top. And you're not going to replace Josh Allen. What do you do? And, McDermott has not been the same since he lost his offense coordinator a couple of years ago with Brian Daboll, and then Dorsey was made the scapegoat, and even Joe Brady wasn't enough. So I technically think they do have a Sean McDermott problem.
So you would do what Tampa did with Dungy. That's what's come around this week. That do they need to go? Like, quite frankly, we were just talking about Belichick. Do you bring in the hired gun, win the Super Bowl, and then worry about the next coach in 2027, 2028?
I would. You're set up that way. You have a roster that there's going to be a lot of change next year. So I don't know if think Bills and you think your roster is going to be good enough, then I would go do that. I worry really too late because the opportunity they just missed with KC at home in a year where other teams are down, and now you're going to be $40 million over the cap, and Josh Allen's deal is going to have to be renegotiated and all that. I would make a change, but they're not going to because this is a team that won another division title and won 7 straight games to end the season and the playoffs and made it all the way to losing to Kansas City. And at the end of the day, you're still losing to the Super Bowl champs. But I would have made a change from McDermott last year. I definitely would have made it this year.
All right, let's move to the championship games. Detroit and San Francisco. When you look at this game, how much of if Deebo Samuel being out will affect this in your measure if he doesn't play?
I couldn't have hopped on Detroit +7 any faster than I did last week. And I said it after the San Francisco game was over before Detroit went on to win the next day. I think Detroit has a legit chance here because of what you just said. Without Deebo Samuel, that is not the same team. And if you look back at the regular season, there was a string where they were, I believe, 11-3. All 3 of their losses occurred in a row when Deebo and Trent Williams were out. With 2 of them in, they had been 11-0 with 10 double-digit wins, and the only non-double-digit win was when Sean McVay called timeout to kick a field goal to cover the spread. God, I love that guy. But I think San Francisco is a shell of themselves without Debo. You saw it on the field versus Green Bay in a game they should not have won. So if Debo doesn't play, Detroit not only to cover the spread, but as a live dog to potentially win the game. If Debo plays, that's a completely different team and the best team in the league when Debo plays.
Meanwhile, the other game, is there a team better equipped to defend Kelsey than the Ravens? Because, well, they got that safety from Notre Dame that no one else has. I mean, they just took the best player available 2 years ago in the draft, Kyle Hamilton, and it's almost as if they drafted him for this game on Sunday.
No, there isn't a better matchup there, and all due respect to what Kansas City has done this year with a team that isn't as good as the Super Bowl team last year, I do think the run ends versus Baltimore. Baltimore is the most complete team in the league, top to bottom, when it comes to the defensive pieces, like you said, with Hamilton, an offense with the MVP, and you go and get pieces like Odell Beckham Jr. that works perfectly in that offense. John Harbaugh is the coach. You got coordinators in Munkin and McDonald. I think overall, top to bottom, this is your best team, your team that should win the Super Bowl. We always, of course, know that the best team doesn't always win the Super Bowl, but the Ravens have not only have the record to show it, they've beaten the right opponents, including San Francisco. They've pretty much destroyed everybody they've played, even the good teams. I think that this is a Ravens win. I think this is a year where you're celebrating the Harbaughs between Michigan and Baltimore. I think you're going to have both titles with the brothers here.
Yeah, I'm with you. The only thing that, at least both Detroit and San Francisco have seen Baltimore this year. If Baltimore gets by, it will be a second meeting between the teams, so they have a better idea defensively. That's the one thing, Kansas City, by Cincinnati winning the division, they've not seen Baltimore this year. And usually you got to see this team to be able to beat this team, don't you?
You do. And that's why the NFC champion will obviously have a chance in the Super Bowl since they've seen it. But keep in mind, Baltimore won both those games fairly easily. So you might have seen Baltimore, but at the same time, Baltimore beat the crap out of you, of both of them.
Your best information about the Chargers, we're trying to figure out how you have a second meeting, interview, whatever it is they're calling it, and you don't consummate the deal with Jim Harbaugh. I understand he's a prickly negotiator, but I mean, David, if you enter down the road with Harbaugh, aren't you basically, once you interview him once, agreeing to give him everything he wants?
Yeah. And, Dallas Robinson from Pro Football Network did a story 2 days ago, a really good story about why the coaching search this year is taking longer than other coaching searches and why teams are interviewing more people than they normally interview. And it's not just the Rooney Rule. It's also moving back the rules as to when you can interview and what's Zoom and what's not. Point being that these teams are doing a lot more of their due diligence than they have before. But I go back to agreeing with you guys like I did with Belichick. If Harbaugh's your guy, Harbaugh's your guy. So I don't know if you're squabbling over $12 million versus $13 million a year or full control versus non-full control. If you're bringing Jim Harbaugh in, you know what you're getting. So just like Belichick, I don't understand if you're zeroing on these guys, why. Yes, you have to interview all the people. You have to do your due diligence. They've done all that. Not that LA or Harbaugh have to worry about what my career, my job, and my life is, but I've been ready to hit play on my pre-write on Jim Harbaugh to the Chargers for 3 freaking days now. And I want it to happen when I have people ready at my end. So, between 9 and 5 today would be a good time.
He's David Bearman, the Chief Content Officer at Pro Football Network, profootballnetwork.com. Follow him on Twix, Twitter/X at David Bearman PFN, David Bearman PFN. David, all the best. Thanks for your time throughout the season. We'll talk again soon.
Absolutely. Enjoy the games this week, guys.
David Bearman, Pro Football Network. PFN 365, by the way, you want to follow the site on Twix.
David, you and David Bearman are the only two people so far in this vote that have had an all-you-can-eat buffet in the last month.
Huh.
That's your guy right there. I did not realize that. I mean, he's been our guy all year. He's been great, but that's your guy right there.
Yeah, all of a sudden, David Bearman's going to be on the docket for tomorrow and Friday and Monday.
Well, and I don't know if we're going to talk football. All right, but now we have a go-to. Mark's got David Sampson to go to, about music and movies and what have you. And, I'll bring in David Bearman about, all you can eat buffets.
Little weirded out about the raw food. And then I need another plate. I'm hoping they're giving me I don't want the food back on the plate that I just had all the raw food.
Yeah,
on.
that is a little weird.
Well,
that was the only thing that
I'm assuming, that they will figure it out with the plates. I mean, they're all right there in front of you. Don't you just go, hold on 1 second here, put it on this?
I would hope so.
Okay.
But I'm intrigued by the whole Mongolian buffet.
I saw it in your face. And you were like, oh, I could do that. This ain't the Golden Corral.
You got that right. So when's the last time you've been to an all-you-can-eat buffet? Go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, or FL Sports Network on X or FloridaSportsNetwork.com to vote.
Yeah. It's the hard-hitting stuff. Because when we ask sports questions, you go, whatever. Who got in the Hall of Fame, who didn't, and why? Ron Blum of the Associated Press, next.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Florida.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Are the Lions colors in next year's Super Bowl logo?
I don't think it's been released yet, and when it does, it's going to cause a frenzy on social media.
When it's Honolulu blue and teal.
Yeah. Or like green, and it's the Jets year.
Next year's Super Bowl's in New Orleans.
I know, but the logo, the last 3 years, the colors have been the teams that have been in it. Like
seriously?
This year's logo is the
Yes.
colors of the Ravens and the Niners.
David, let me send you the picture.
It's the last 3 years have been the
Wow.
Super Bowl logo ends up with the colors of the team that's in it. It's gets more to the league's fixed thing, the conspiracy theories and all those.
Right. The league is fixed, right?
This thing's about done. It's 5-2 in the third.
Well, Mark, there is, like the broadcasters don't have a vote. Vince Scully never got to vote. Bob Costas doesn't get to vote. I also think if you're in the Hall of Fame, you should get a vote.
I don't.
Okay. And you could argue no, because that's what veterans committees are for and what have you.
Yeah, I want to make sure, because not everybody I don't know how much every active Hall of Famer pays attention to the sport that they played.
It is interesting, though, if you go through the list of people who have a ballot, like Rick Gosselin of the Dallas Morning News has a ballot. He's a football guy. Lupica's got a ballot. Our buddy Tim Reynolds, I think, has a ballot. Unless there's another Tim Reynolds.
Ron Blum is ready to go.
Wow. I think it's a bit of a stretch with the logos there. Now, this year, though, the Ravens would not be a stretch, but
here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
it is the third and final hour of Miller and Moulton along the network. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Keith Smith to talk NBA in 20 minutes. Angelique Chengelis, is Harbaugh leaving? If so, who's going to replace him? She'll join us in about 35 minutes. Our poll question, when's the last time you went to an all-you-can-eat buffet? Last month, last year, 5 years, never. I went last month in West Lafayette, Indiana, 4 plates. I crushed it. Mark hasn't been in 5 years. Go to that, Mark Miller, the David Moulton, floridasportsnetwork.com, and vote. We have a lot of questions for Ron Blum of the Associated Press. He covers Major League Baseball. He's a Hall of Fame voter. Ron, it's David and Mark. Thanks for your time. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Fine. First off, when's the last time you went to an all-you-can-eat buffet?
Well, what?
An all-you-can-eat buffet. That's our poll question today.
Oh, can't remember at all.
Okay, fair enough. How much do you agonize over your Hall of Fame vote?
I wouldn't say agonize. It's mostly just studying and trying to draw conclusions and matching or mixing in modern metrics with what you saw with your eyes when the player was on the field.
How many players did you? Sorry, how many players did you vote for this time?
I voted for Beltre and Wagner.
Oh, okay. You surprised about Billy Wagner? You wrote a story a couple days ago in which you said, I know it's going to be close. Are you surprised that he didn't get in 5 votes shy?
No, it was going to be close either way, and one would think he'll be just above the threshold next year based on not him, but just past precedence of what players who are close pick up in their final years. But I mean, we're basing close not based on the perception, but looking at Ryan Thibodeau's vote tracker and what percentage he was at, and the average that players usually fall between the roughly half the votes that he tracks and the half the non-public votes. So he was, I think, about 3 percentage points, maybe 4 on the vote tracker, and usually you go down, drop 5 to 10 points between that and the final number.
Todd Helton and Joe Mauer both elected. Why, first Mauer, why did you not vote for him?
I just thought he had an excellent, very good career, but was he among the 1% of the great players? And in the evaluation of him and some of the other catchers, I thought he was not quite at the very top level. But I certainly understand the reasoning for those who did choose to vote for him.
And is that a threshold that you hold to? Because we had this discussion yesterday, the fact that, it's the Hall of Fame. It's supposed to be the elite of the elite. Is that a difficult to define threshold that you hold to as a voter?
It's difficult, but also somewhat rational in the process of making that decision. And were you the dominant player at your position for an extended period of time during your career? And while Mauer certainly was a dominant catcher for his career, then with the shift to first base and the injuries, overall, his statistics are similar to Don Mattingly's, and Mattingly, while dominant for the early part of his career, once the back injury limited him, wasn't. So that's kind of the dividing line. If you're looking in the Yogis and Johnny Benches were great catchers, was Mauer at that level? Not for as an extended period of time.
One of the guys that we think is at that level is Andrew Jones. When you look at, the Gold Gloves, the 400 home runs, he's an elite category with other Hall of Famers and yet not in. Is that
right? But you can't look at just numbers. You have to look at numbers in the period the player was playing, because offense has ebbed and flowed throughout the years. So that's why I tend to look, how was that player? Was he dominant at the time, or the dominant player at the time among his peers?
And that's one that we'll disagree with Ron Blum of the Associated Press joining us here on Miller and Moulton. Have you changed your mind on a player?
Yeah, Wagner I looked at differently as the evaluation of closers became different throughout, because obviously the job has changed from the Ryan Duran era to then you go to the Dennis Eckersley era, I'm skipping the Goose Gossage era, and how it basically was redefined as a 3-out job under Tony La Russa, and then Mariano Rivera took it to another level during his time with the Yankees. So you go and look at Wagner, where he was in his peer group, and he certainly was for an extended time the best at his position. So while I didn't vote for him in his early years on the ballot, I'm guessing I've voted him for the last 3 years now, definitely the last 2.
Is there someone who ever makes, like in football, someone makes a 5-minute presentation to the voters? Is there ever someone who sends out material who over the course of a year will lobby some of you voters and say, hey, maybe you should reconsider so-and-so, take a look at these numbers? Or do all of you do this individually?
Well, we all do it individually. Some players who are with a club for an extended time, that club will send out a packet of information in the fall before they are on the ballot. Then in the case of some players, there have been individuals who've taken on the job as unofficial lobbyists on behalf of that player. I recall someone doing that, I think, for Rich Gossage. But for the most part, it's everyone going on the very slim definitions that the Hall of Fame provides for the consideration of the ballot. And each of the 400 or so voters comes up with their own way to evaluate each player.
Well, Ron, thanks for your time and your insight. We really appreciate it. And hopefully we can talk again down the road.
Okay, good to be with you guys. Have a good day.
Ron Blum of the Associated Press, covers Major League Baseball, has done so for 38 years. Voted for two. Beltre, which seems obvious, he got 95% of the vote, and Billy Wagner was his other. He didn't vote for Helton, who got in, didn't vote for Mauer, who got in, but was one of those who voted for, yet came up 5 votes short for Billy Wagner. Didn't vote for Sheffield. And you heard when Mark questioned him about Andrew Jones, who's somebody that we would vote for the Hall of Fame.
I don't think I persuaded him in any way, shape, or form, David.
No. In fact, he didn't let you get the full question out.
No.
He doubled down.
No.
Because Mark was going to go, listen, there are 4 players with 10 gold gloves and 400 homers. And before Mark could rattle off Mays, Schmidt, and who's the other one? Griffey. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right. What did he ever do? Okay. Ron's like, you got to take the numbers and, put them in perspective.
Best player. And what he challenged on, I would argue, in his era, was the best center fielder in the game.
In fact, he surpassed Griffey. Griffey was the best center fielder, and then Andrew Jones said, I'll take it from here.
That's the only part of his. Fine, you don't. He's got to vote. He obviously researches it. He does a very good job at what he does. And I'm in his camp. It should be harder, not easier, to get in the Hall. So I have no problem with him voting for 2 guys. But some of the reasons that he gave of why he didn't vote for guys seem to fall into why you would vote for an Andrew Jones. And he just poo-pooed that.
Very interesting, in which he took a look at Mauer and he said, I see Don Mattingly. Okay.
And a baseball writer that hasn't been to an all-you-can-eat buffet, I don't know if you can really trust him.
David's starting off the interview with the question, and he goes, I don't even know.
But see, that's the danger. See, this is our interviewing technique. There are 2 things that we do early. And as interviewers go, it's actually one of the things that we think we're decent at. And we do 2 things. First off, when somebody wants to pump something, we get it out of the way right away. Because that's the only thing that's on their mind. Because they got their PR person next to them going, got to make sure you get this in. And then once they get it in, they relax.
And the PR person's not staring them down because their the PR person's ecstatic.
They leave the room often. Okay, the only thing they care, they go get a coffee. It's like, I'll tell them to stop in 10 minutes. So that's the first thing we do. But the second thing is you try to get someone talking when you're interviewing them. First question should be underhanded. Or it's just you attack the 800-pound gorilla right away. It's one or the other. Slow pitch softball, 95-mile-an-hour fastball down the middle is usually how we do interviews. And so I just figured, the last guy we had on, we asked him, he said, I had one 4 days ago.
Right.
Okay. So let's see.
Football 1, baseball 0 today as far as interviews go with the buffet question.
That was so good because David asked the question and he was just so
What?
John was so distraught. Like, he didn't know what was
What'd
going
you
on.
ask me? I agreed to do this at 8:00 in the morning. You're asking me about an all-you-can-eat buffet? Are you serious? Why did I say yes to you?
Don't worry, he'll never answer the phone again.
Yep. I can't remember. Okay. Well, how about we talk the Hall of Fame vote? Can you remember who you voted for? So, but anyway, I mean, listen, I will say, if we've got 8 minutes, okay, and we want to talk baseball, we can do it with Ron. He'll get right to the point. Bada bing, bada boom. Let's go.
We will switch gears and talk the association next. A coach was fired and a trade was made. We'll break it all down on Miller and Moulton.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to step into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So Mark and I hadn't teamed up yet, and I'm doing afternoons, and we have Milo Hamilton on, longtime voice of the Astros. And the Astros are in the playoffs, and he's written a book. And so we're helping him pump the book. And we get him on, 4:30 in the afternoon. He just got to the ballpark type deal. And I don't know. It didn't click. I'm trying to help him pump the book, and it's not clicking. He's not. And then I asked a question, and I don't know, it may not have been my best question. And he got really cranky with me on the air. And so I just ended the interview. I just said, well, okay, Milo, thanks for your time. Best of luck with the book. And that was it. It was like 6 minutes. I just text our old producer who booked Milo Hamilton and said, we just did an interview in which I was one bad question away from a Milo Hamilton. Okay. We were one bad question away.
Well, there's only when you're talking Hall of Fame, you can ask about who he put in and why he didn't put in the guys he didn't put in. There's nowhere else to go.
Right. So,
I mean, I guess we could have gone Hader signing with the Astros, but I mean, come on. Ugh.
Yeah, Wes, a salad bar counts. Well, no. If it was like
Salad
a
bar is
sweet
not an
tomatoes type
all-you-can-eat
place,
buffet.
no. I thought if that's the only thing that you're eating, though, if it's that your meal, like a sweet potatoes used to be.
Keith is on. I do not, Seminoles. I just want to bring you to my country club, David, for when if you're in town and they have a prime rib night, so you can really
kill it.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Is Jim Harbaugh leaving Michigan? Angelique Chengelis covers the Wolverines football program. She'll join us in a little more than 15 minutes' time. Our poll question today, we're having a little fun. When's the last time you went to an all-you-can-eat buffet? In the last month, in the last year, 5 years, or don't do all-you-can-eat buffet. Never been. Those are your four choices. Last month in West Lafayette, Indiana, 4 plates. That was my vote. Mark hasn't been in 5 years. Go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, FloridaSportsNetwork.com, and vote accordingly. We have limited time with Keith Smith, who's part of Spot Rack and YouTube's NBA Front Office show. You can follow Keith on Twix, Twitter/X at Keith Smith NBA, Keith Smith NBA. Come on, Keith, got to answer the question. Last time you and the family went to the buffet.
Not the family, but me last summer in Las Vegas when I was out there for Summer League. You can't pass up a Vegas buffet.
There you go.
Big
There
fella.
you go. At least you're getting the quality buffet in Vegas. I like it. Let's start with the Heat. And obviously there's a lot to talk about, but this was to us a really good deal getting Rozier for the Heat. Tell us about this trade and what you think of it.
Yeah, I think it is a really good deal for the Heat. I think people who they maybe more casually watch don't understand that Kyle Lowry, he slipped quite a bit. Every player gets to a point where I like to say they're more name than game. And that's what feels like we've turned that corner with Kyle Lowry. He's not quick enough to get his own shot up anymore. That hurts his ability to create for others. He's not quite the defender he was any longer either. So that's caused some problems for him and for some stuff with the Heat. So getting Terry Rozier now, you get a guy who is doing quite well offensively, can really create and can really make plays. And he's a guy who defensively hasn't been very good the last few years, but I think he'll get back to what he was because he's got something to play for. He's on a good team with good defenders around him. So I think it's a great deal for the Heat, especially considering, yeah, they gave up a first-round pick, but there's no organization in sports I trust more that will develop undrafted guys or second-round picks into rotation players more than Miami.
And even if the option year in 26 ends up happening, to have Rozier when he's 30 and 31 making around $25 million a year, that's not a bad deal, is it, Keith?
No, not at all. Not for what he brings to the floor. And in his age, I'm not too concerned about because Miami is built to win right now. So this is probably, if we're being realistic, it's probably about a 2 or 3 year window with this group around Jimmy Butler, and they'll be fine. And then Butler will probably move on at some point towards, my guess is somewhere in the next 2-3 seasons. He's probably moving into a different phase of his career, if not retiring. And then you're into a spot where now the team will be built around Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, and whatever comes next, and Jaime Jaquez and the like. So I think they're in a really good place in Miami. I think this deal helps now, and I think this deal's fine for the next couple of seasons.
All right, let's talk about the Milwaukee Bucks. They fire Griffith, their head coach. This is, to us, looks like Giannis being the most powerful person on the team and deciding he wanted a new coach. Are we wrong?
It may be that. I don't know that for certain, which would be a very major change because Giannis was someone who had initially kind of pushed for Adrian Griffin to be the hire. And this is why you got to be very cautious with how much power you give the player in your organization. We've seen that generally tends to go wrong, whether it's picking the coach for them or it's allowing them a lot of say in roster personnel and the like. But that can be a challenge. Sure, you want to keep your superstars happy and you want to keep them home with you, but it's very, very tricky to balance all that and pull that off. So now we're going to see the Bucks. It sounds like, by all reports, it's probably going to be Doc Rivers. It sounds like every time somebody says it's getting close, we get another report that says it's not so close, but I'm guessing that's where it goes. And we'll see if that's any kind of upgrade and can get them where they want to be, which is ultimately in the NBA Finals.
Well, Keith, reportedly, bad defensively, the veterans have lost trust in him. Keith, this isn't never going to be a good defensive team. I mean, 3 of their 5 starters are below average defenders. I mean, they'll be lucky to be an average defensive team, right? If they're going to win, it's because they're scoring 125 a game.
Yeah, without a doubt. They are one of the better offensive teams. And I think what you hope is defensively you can get them to a point where, hey, we need a couple stops at the end of a half or at the end of a game to put ourselves in good shape. And you would hope that you can get there. But the challenge is playoff series. We all know how they go. The opponent finds a weakness and they pick at it relentlessly until you do something to solve it and make it go a different direction. So I think they're going to have a lot of trouble, especially when we get to the postseason, because teams are going to find Damian Lillard. They're going to find Malik Beasley. Brook Lopez, we'll see if he can get back to the guy he was, but they're asking him under Adrian Griffin to do a lot of stuff that at this point in his career, he's not comfortable. He's not good at coming out to the level of the ball and guarding guys out on the perimeter. He's really got to play in that drop style, and that had been fine for a number of years for Milwaukee. So I'm very curious to see what happens as they go to a new coach and try to figure this thing out and get it. I almost said get it on track, but they have the second best record in the NBA. So I don't know how much more on track you need it, but clearly they weren't happy with where they think things might be heading over the next second half of the season and into the postseason.
They're only a couple games back of the Celtics, but it seems like they're light years behind the Celtics of what we've seen out of Boston. I mean, I know they just beat them, and they beat them handily about 2 weeks ago, but are they that far behind Boston in your estimation?
I think they might be. That game where they hammered Boston, the Celtics were coming in on a very weird travel schedule. They had gone from the Midwest back home to Boston to play one game. That game went into overtime, and then they went to Milwaukee on a back-to-back. Didn't have a couple of their guys, and they got popped pretty good. So credit to the Bucks for taking advantage, but I think the Celtics kind of saw it early, and you saw Joe Mazzulla pulled everybody out at halftime of that game because he just wasn't going to waste their legs in a futile effort. So I think when you look at them more in a base matchup, they just don't have the defensive answers with Boston, where Boston has a lot of things they can do defensively themselves to make Milwaukee uncomfortable. They've got the guards they can throw at Lillard. They've got a bunch of different bigs they can throw at Giannis, including going to Al Horford with Kristaps Porzingis kind of in a floating help role, which gives them that extra rim protection that they need. So I think the Celtics have proven that they're at least a half tier above the Bucks. It wouldn't surprise me if Milwaukee beat them in a playoff series, but I don't think it's super close.
Indiana's made a significant move. The Knicks have made a significant move. The Heat have made a significant move, and the Bucks made a significant move at coaching. Anybody else in the East you think going to make a move? I think we're all wondering, do the Sixers have a move in them, or is this the team they're going to try to take down the Celtics with?
Yeah, that's exactly the team. It's Philadelphia. Everybody's looking at it and saying, are they going to go in right now around Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey and kind of punt on having cap space in the summertime? Or are they going to go into a position where they say, we feel okay, we feel like our options are better in free agency, whether that be free agency or trades or whatever it is in the offseason. But for right now, they're really close. For my money, Joel Embiid's the MVP again. If he's eligible, we'll see if he makes the game threshold or not to be eligible for postseason awards. But as it stands right now, I mean, he is playing the best basketball of his career. Tyrese Maxey has been very good. And they have a bunch of good role players around those guys. So I can see the case for maybe we should just ride it out with what we have and then see what the offseason brings. But I think it's more likely we're going to see this turn into something where Daryl Morey says, let's make a play right now, because I think he very much knows, let's get this going forward, because I think Daryl Morey's a guy who he knows the windows don't stay open forever, and he's always someone who's never been afraid to make the big move.
He's Keith Smith. He covers the NBA for Spot Rack and NBA's Front Office Show on YouTube. You can follow Keith on Twix, Twitter/X at Keith Smith NBA, Keith Smith NBA. Keith, safe travels. All the best. Thanks for your time.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me.
Keith Smith covers the NBA, friend of the show for a long time. Angelique Chengelis is next, talking Jim Harbaugh. Staying or going?
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymade.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymade.com/FTMYERS. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
David EB wants to know what your buffet preference is in terms of the food.
Chinese. I know that answer.
I love a Chinese buffet, but if I'm doing, I like to pound the stuff I don't normally get. So, I eat a lot of burgers. So if I go to like a Golden Corral type place, I'm not going to have beef. I can get beef.
Yeah, I know. I'd be afraid that the jockey would have still hit that beef.
Right. So I'm tackling the other stuff. Heavy on the sides. Okay, might have a plate of sides. I mean, one carb after another. Big thing of mashed potatoes, corn,
mac and cheese.
David, it wasn't a buffet. It was kind of the place that I went to when we were in Savannah, Georgia. Went to this restaurant for lunch, and it's Southern food. And
like a Shoney's type place?
No. It's this lady's restaurant. It's not like a Shoney's.
Gotcha.
It's a like Obama's eating there, Cronkite's eating there. It's
got there,
but it's Southern food. It's not fancy.
Right.
You're put at a table, at a community table with 12 people. Like even I sat with 10 people we didn't know, and they start bringing food. David, 5 protein dishes, best fried chicken I've ever had in my life. 27 sides. They just kept bringing plates of food, and it's like you're eating at a dinner table. It's right. Miss Wilkes Boarding House is the name of the place. Unbelievable. Best
Where is this?
In Savannah, Georgia.
God, I want to get in the car and go. Is she still doing it?
She owned it. Her granddaughter, who was in her 80s, came down because we stayed at the house. It was a B&B above it. So we stayed in this house, and part of the deal was staying there as you got to eat the buffet. Did the whole Goodfellas. There was a line at 10 in the morning for this place. We walked through the kitchen, the back of because that's how we had to come in. They said, if you just wait out back, we'll grab you, and they walk you to the front of the line. That's exactly it, Johnny O. Mrs. Wilkes Boarding House on Jones Street. Stayed above it. It was phenomenal.
God. I just want to go on a Saturday night, sleep there just for the Sunday morning. Say to my wife, let's go. We're going to Savannah.
Hey, it's your off season now, David. You can do this.
It's a 2-hour drive, I think.
It's actually a pretty quick drive for you. Savannah's a great city. A lot of history there.
Golly.
Savannah's
now I'm fired up.
Do you like Athens?
Love Athens.
Cool.
There's not many college towns I don't like. I mean, okay. I even like Ann Arbor to a certain degree. There's places there I can go, and
Ann Arbor's a cool city. I don't think it's a great college
I don't
town,
either.
But it's a great like city. But nothing beats the college town of, campuses right on top of you.
Right.
It's just like Madison. Have you been to Madison?
Madison's amazing.
Incredible. Love
when
it.
I went to Madison, I'm like, why? If I would have gone to Madison before applying to Michigan State, I might have applied to the University of Wisconsin.
Have you been to Champaign?
No.
Very underrated.
Really?
Love Champaign. Okay, I'm going to call Angelique.
And let her know.
Buffets and Big Ten history coming up next.
And we're asking Angelique.
I'm guessing not in the last 5 years. That's it, Johnny Mac. Mrs. Wilkes Boarding House. Unbelievable. My buddy got married in Savannah. I don't know. Well, they've been married a while now. That's when I was there. He came back and won the third set in a tiebreak.
What?
It's down 5-2, and he came back and won the set.
Just a break, but still.
Angelique is on, and we are coming back in 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes left in the syndicated portion of the show. The Diamond District bonus hour awaits for those in the 239 at the top of the hour. We end in style with Angelique Chengelis, who's covered the Michigan Wolverines for the Detroit News for a couple weeks. You can follow Angelique on Twix, Twitter/X at Chengelis, Chengelis. Angelique, it's David and Mark. We haven't talked since before the semis. How are you?
Well, happy Harbuary, as I call January. I mean, it's, third straight year of Jim Harbaugh and NFL flirtations. So just, kind of in a wait-and-see mode again, waiting for what Jim Harbaugh may do. But, I know we haven't talked in a while, and it was really quite a run for the Michigan football team in the CFP in the playoffs. So I really wasn't sure they were going to get past Alabama, and then they won it all. So it was quite an achievement for them.
No doubt. And now they're trying to figure out if their head coach is staying or going. Are you surprised that it's taking this long for the Chargers? I mean, to us, I wouldn't let them out of the room until I had them signed, sealed, and delivered. I would have never had a second interview. I'd have only had one. Are you surprised that it's taken this long?
I'm never surprised with anything that involves Jim Harbaugh, and I don't mean that to be flippant or anything. It's just that he had the interview in Minnesota in 2022. Then he was in discussions with Denver, and I thought that was going to pan out. Both situations, I thought that things would be happening, that Jim Harbaugh would be moving on, and they didn't happen. So, everybody's messaging me, calling me from the office. So is this when it's going to happen? I'm like, you just don't know with him. And of course, there's another side to this. It's the NFL team, and that this has gone to a second interview, and apparently some very big negotiations and discussions yesterday in I keep wanting to say San Diego, in Los Angeles. It sounds like it's serious on both parts, but I was reminded again that he is scheduled for a second interview with Atlanta, and to not count that out. So I don't think this is over yet, and I never think anything is over with him, as I said. So it's just really kind of a wait and see, and the Chargers have been doing their due diligence too, and talking to all sorts of candidates. I was under the impression that Jim Harbaugh is their guy, but can they meet his demands, and will he acquiesce to what they want? I don't know. I'm not in that room, and I think they're probably pretty tense negotiations.
But doesn't it seem, Angelique, if not now, when? That, listen, you won the national title. You've beaten Ohio State 3 years in a row. Your legacy is secured. You clearly have an NFL itch that you've at least seriously thought about scratching. I mean, he hires Brady's agent. I mean, this does seem a little different on the surface than the last 2 years, right?
I totally agree. I mean, and he is at a popularity level, at a success level that I can't imagine he's going to match. I mean, this team loses too much, the Michigan team, for him to come back and produce this kind of magic that they had this year. And I keep bringing up his age. He is 60. I'm not saying, because he is a young 60, and I'm not saying that's why this is it. But it's now 3 years in a row that he's had conversations with NFL teams, and I agree with you. If it's not this year, I just don't see it happening. And I think that he has achieved everything he's wanted to achieve at Michigan. He brought the program back. Obviously, they won the national championship. How do you go out any higher than that? And let's not forget, I mean, there are 2 unresolved NCAA investigations still. And the first one that they had received the notice of allegations finally in December, he's going to have to go before a committee on infractions hearing in the spring. So I think these are all things that are to be considered and that he has considered. But yeah, just even with that off the table, it seems to me this year or bust, I guess, as like Blake Corum said, natty or bust. I think it's NFL or bust this year for Jim Harbaugh.
If Harbaugh takes it, is it Sharon's more jobs? Is it Moore's job?
Oh yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that they'd want to try to, Ward Manuel, the athletic director, would want to try to keep the staff intact as much as possible. I mean, I think if Harbaugh goes to the NFL, I think it's a very strong likelihood that Jesse Minter goes with him as a defensive coordinator. Certainly he takes his son, Jay Harbaugh, and, maybe someone else on the staff, maybe Ben Herbert, who would be a very big loss for this program. I mean, he's their head strength coach, and he's been associate head coach this past year. He's someone that the players credited so much this year for really ignoring and tuning out all of the outside noise. So I think that the best option that they would see is Sharon Moore. He's 4-0 as acting head coach. I think that people have to consider too that he wasn't, Harbaugh was there those weeks. It wasn't like, Sharon was handling it all on his own. But he has had the experience of leading a team on game day and has wins, very important wins at Penn State and against Ohio State, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm not sure that there are that many candidates out there. I know that there's this Brian Kelly rumor floating out there, but I just don't see that happening. I think Kalen DeBoer, I kept saying he would have been the first call I would make. But that's obviously not going to happen now, that he's at Alabama. But I think that would be where Michigan would go with this if Jim's not back.
Talking Jim Harbaugh and the Wolverines with Angelique Chengelis of the Detroit News. You can follow her on Twix, Twitter/X at Chengelis, Chengelis. Is there anything that could come out in the next 6 months, say he leaves, and say that the NCAA and what have you, that, the news is, they come down kind of hard on Michigan? Is that going to take the bloom off this rose at all?
I don't think so. I mean, I think that you have the NCAA president telling a bunch of reporters in December that Michigan won fair and square, and explained why it was important for them to share the information that the NCAA shared with the Big Ten, which led to the 3-game suspension for the sign stealing, the illegal scouting investigation that's going on. I think one thing in my research going through the NCAA handbook, I know people say vacate the wins, but I haven't seen any other incidents of this, but that's typically when there is an ineligible player who has participated in games all season, and that's when the NCAA vacates wins. So I don't think that applies to Michigan in this situation. But no, I don't. I mean, I think that the team won with players who are very good and coaches who really prepared them well. And I think you can argue, well, look what they did in light of everything that was going on around. I have never experienced a season like this with not only with the first investigation, but that second one and this crazy stuff going on with Connor Stallions. I mean, it's been mind-boggling, really. And, that the fact that they were able to push that aside and continue winning, I think in some ways it helped them. It gave them something that they felt like they had to prove to everybody that they didn't need someone like a Connor Stallions, that stuff, that's ridiculous. And then they can win without anything like that. And they proved that. But, I think to be tainted for some people, obviously. But for Michigan fans, I don't think that will ever, I don't think they're ever going to put an asterisk by the season or anything like that. It's the national championship, and they celebrated it a few days later in Ann Arbor, and I think that's how it will be remembered.
And finally, Angelique, with or without Harbaugh, what's the cupboard going to look like next year? I mean, they lose a lot. how much returns, how did recruiting go, early signing, the transfer portal? I mean, what's the cupboard look like next year?
Well, I mean, that's a great question. And going back to the Harbaugh and all the interview process, I mean, he has not been recruiting. And, recruiting has not been, if you go by the rankings, it hasn't been that amazing the last couple of years. And I think it's in part because players don't know what he's doing. You can also look at Michigan's NIL program, which is improving, but it's certainly not at the level of what people are saying Ohio State's done. They've got a couple players from the portal. But when you look at, they've got huge losses on offense and defense, but I think defense will be in better shape. There's a lot of young talent that has played a lot. You've got Mason Graham, you've got Kenneth Grant, you've got Will Johnson back, all juniors this upcoming season. Donovan Edwards is back this year. The quarterback situation is going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. Do they go to the portal in the spring? I think it's something that they definitely will do. But they have Alex Orji, and Jim Harbaugh was raving about him. He was the scout team's look as Jalen Milroe, and he made that comparison a lot. That Alex Orji has that kind of athleticism and as a freak athlete. They're going to miss J.J. McCarthy, no doubt. They're going to miss Blake Corum. The receivers, that's going to be an issue again. I mean, it wasn't a position of strength this year. And they lose Cornelius Johnson and Roman Wilson, big losses there, but they've got some really good tight ends back. So, and the offensive line, I mean, that's going to be pretty much brand new, a group of starters. So there's a lot to fix on offense, but I think defense will be pretty good.
Angelique, thanks for your time. We always appreciate it. Hope all is well with you and the family, and we'll talk again down the road.
My pleasure. We'll see how Harbaugh finishes out here. We'll talk more.
Hadn't heard that before.
No, I hadn't either.
Detroit News. Follow her on Twix at Chengelis, Chengelis. Harbaugh. Nice.
Not to mention the Michigan schedule.
Oh, brutal. Brutal.
Is ridiculous.
It's Florida or Michigan. Harder schedule. It's a toss-up.
Michigan.
Bigger names on the Michigan schedule. The depth of the Florida schedule is stunning.
It's the Florida schedule, but it's still Michigan has Texas, USC, Washington, Oregon, and Ohio State on their schedule. Huh.
Think about it. They have 3 of the 4 newcomers from the West. The only team they don't have is UCLA.
The worst of the 4 teams in the West that are coming.
Right. They have to go to Ohio State. Oh, yeah, and Texas. And Texas brings a lot back.
Dare I say someone has it better than them next year?
Don't tell them that.
I mean, not yet. I know no one's got it better than them right now. They're national champs. They're Rose Bowl champs. But in a few months...
Oh, they're not going to be in the Big Ten title game next year. No. That's not happening. It could be a 7-5 year for Michigan. And now they won't care. Oh, okay. I mean, they won the national title. I mean, in 2026, they'll come up for air and go, so how's the last couple of years gone? Or they'll care when they play Ohio State.
They'll care when they play Ohio State, and they would care if it was 7-5. They would care.
Well, but what if it's 7-5 and you beat the Buckeyes?
Then they're fine.
Right. That was Tressel's first year at Ohio State, 7-5, but he beat Michigan.
But, that's like making birdie and duck hooking it out of bounds. That's a PBFU. They don't want a PBFU. They'd like to keep this. That's why I've laughed. I've seen some preseason rankings that come out early, and people that have Michigan in the top 10. It's like, did you not see what their offensive line and their players that are leaving and their schedule next year? It's not that easy.
It's like TCU from last year coming into this year, being ranked, what were they, 17 after going to the national title game, and then Colorado beat them, and everyone was like, they beat TCU. It wasn't the same TCU.
Yeah, I mean, they lose the whole offensive line, lose their quarterback, they lose their star tailback, who was the soul of the team in Corum. They do return some good players on defense. I mean, that 55 sophomore, Graham, damn, he could play. They couldn't block him.
And you'll probably see him, David, on October 5th when they're at Washington.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I figure it'll be great scenery. Rematch of the national championship game. It's going to be tough for Fox to make them play at 9 a.m. That's why we think at CBS we'll get it. Looking forward to it. I've never been to Husky Stadium. Heard it's gorgeous.
Oh, it looks spectacular.
It's one of the best stadiums in the Big Ten. Probably.
Look at that. Look at that. He transitioned
I
so
can't
well.
believe
right
you
there.
just did that.
You guys are rubbing off on me. This is not good.
I can't believe you just went there. One of the best stadiums in the Big Ten. He's not wrong.
No. Well, technically he is. They're not there yet. Not there yet. But if they had won the national title against Michigan, that Washington show would have been running on BTN all summer. Soon as, is it July 1st they officially joined the conference? Whenever the official date is, that show would have been running the next day. Hey, listen, do you think Ohio State can give up one of their quarterbacks in the transfer portal to Michigan? No? Along the network, have a great hump day. Bonus hours next.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Well, I'm busy this weekend, Johnny O, but thank you for that. Mrs. Wilkes in Savannah. Hello. That show went pretty well.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to go back to Ron Blum at least once during the summer.
No.
Go to the well.
No.
Let's talk a little baseball.
I would agree with this. Super 70 Sports tweeted out perhaps the most underrated 80s comedy. And it's got it from, and I can't remember the name of the movie now, but with Henry Winkler and Michael Keaton when they were the Love Brokers. Funny movie. And the Night Shift. Name escaped me there for a second. Funny movie. When they become the pimps.
Mm-hmm.
Shelley Long, the other person in it. They have both broken each other in the fourth, and they're on serve.
Did you get the story I texted you?
I did not see that. How did I miss that this morning?
I thought you'd like it. Plus, I didn't know what you had.
It's better than what I've got.
Okay, I didn't know if your stuff was timely or one of those you could put on the hopper.
No, I've honestly, this has been hard to find lately. NBC changing their website has killed me.
I know. A damn hole.
Ooh, Night Shifter Johnny Dangerously. That's a hell of a question, Bob and Jay, because Johnny Dangerously is stupid funny. It's it's sophomoric. It's great. I love it.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Welcome to the Diamond District bonus hour on this hump day. As we get over it together, shall we? Big sports day yesterday. Baseball Hall of Fame. Some big NBA moves. The NFL. Coordinators getting fired in Philadelphia. Head coaches nearly being hired in Los Angeles and Nashville. As we all wonder, what's taking you so long? Not to sound like Burgess Meredith or anything. What are you waiting for?
Hire Belichick already. It's not that hard.
That's probably what Robert Kraft sounds like throughout this process.
Right. And then, big night of college hoops. Kentucky goes down. Big wins for Florida State and UCF.
That's a big win for Florida State on the road.
It is. Syracuse is a bubble team.
Yeah.
And Florida State's now won 6 in a row. And somebody from the ACC has to make the NCAA tournament. And besides Duke and Carolina. And we'll get into this further next week. But I mean, right now, Mark, a lot of people think the ACC is a 3-bid league.
Just logged on to bracketwag.com for the first time this year, David. You got me excited.
Well, we'll have Shelby Mast on the show next week. Say, all right, let's go through your bracketology. Who you got?
He's got Miami as the last team in right now.
I don't know how Miami gets an at-large with their last 3 weeks. Have no idea. They just lost to Syracuse, who just lost to Florida State.
I'm just telling you.
Florida State beat Miami. I don't know how Miami's an at-large right now.
He's got Miami as an at-large.
For what it's worth, Joe Lenardi for ESPN also has Miami in, not even as one of the last 4 in.
Wow.
And
good for them that they have now a good enough reputation, Mark, that they can get the benefit of the doubt like this. They've earned it. I mean, Larinaga, what he's done, good for them. But wow, their resume does not scream tournament to me.
No, I think they've got a lot of work to do.
But so why not Florida State at this point? Got to figure the NCAA owes them one, right?
Man.
If they're borderline, doesn't somebody in the committee go, well, listen, we stuck it to them in football. I know it wasn't us, but it was just what do you say we throw them a bone?
I was just even thinking the pandemic year for Florida State. They deserve an at-large for
they were so good.
The team they had that year.
They were so good and so fun to watch that year.
Going to the Final Four that year.
Yes, they were.
Badly for Leonard. Don't know he'll ever have a team that good, and he's never been to the Final Four. But and a hell of a match going on right now. I mean, we don't want you to turn off the radio show and turn on the TV, but for what it's worth, there's an Australian Open semifinal right now between like 2 of the 5 best players in the world. Of course, they're not named Djokovic, so no one's really paying attention, but they're slugging it out. Winner to play Djokovic in all likelihood in the final.
Likely.
Yeah. Considering he's never gotten to the Australian Open semis and not won the tournament. And where is he now? In the Australian Open semis. So, I mean, it's not a foregone conclusion, but he's the heavy betting favorite. If he wins, by the way, quick sidebar, if he wins, this is the 25th major. No man or woman. This will even pass Margaret Court. All right. In terms of there will have been no tennis player to have won as many majors as Djokovic. And his record at the Australian will be dangerously close to Nadal's record at the French. That's how amazing his Australian Open record is.
Not to mention he was forced to miss one.
Right.
Ooh, forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's he at again, David? 23?
He's at 24.
He's at 24. And
Right.
Serena had 23, right?
Serena at 23. I think Nadal's at 22.
And 21 of them are French Opens.
Well, no, but I think 13 are. But this will be, I think Djokovic's won 10 Australians, though. I mean, that's why I'm saying he wins 2 more matches here. His Australian Open record is in the area code of Nadal's French Open record. But if he wins this and gets to 25, I mean, because clearly he's not as beloved as Federer was. No one maybe has ever been as beloved as Federer on the men's side. But I don't even think he's as popular as Nadal was.
I don't think so either.
I think some of it, fair or unfair, has to do with his politics.
Yeah, maybe. I also think it was because he came up having to beat Federer and Nadal, and people had already grown attached to Federer or Nadal.
He passed Federer to me. Federer was the gold standard to me. And I hold the fact that Rafi won so many at the French. And I like Federer better, so it might just be a personal thing with me. But I think a lot of people, you said you're a Federer guy yourself.
Yep.
David, you're a Federer guy out of Federer and Nadal. I mean, that's...
Yes, out of the 2. But I was a Joker
out of
guy.
The 2. But all I'm saying is that means, and I think most people are like that, out of those 2. More people are Federer people than Nadal people. Mm-hmm. And he passed Federer in a lot of people's eyes. And when you do that, when you take down the most popular men's tennis player maybe ever, it's tough to have popularity with it unless you are, and he's a quirky guy.
No doubt.
This would be like a golfer coming up in 5 years and passing Tiger.
Well, it would have been somebody on the heels of Tiger, though.
Right.
You know,
It
that's
had
the
to
other
have
thing.
played against Tiger.
Right. I guess, yeah, to get the timeline exactly right, it would have to be already happening now.
But the other thing that Federer's done, or not Federer, Djokovic, my bad, is, you know, those of us that argued Federer over Nadal, yes, Nadal ended up with more majors. And it wasn't just that he had so many of them at one location. But Federer also had all those quarterfinal and semifinal appearances in Grand Slams. Like Federer made it deep into the Grand every time. And it didn't matter the major, didn't matter the time of the year, the surface, it didn't matter. Federer went to the semis every year in a major for 15 years.
And played in some epic finals.
And
Some of the most iconic finals.
Right. And Nadal didn't. You know, Nadal, because of his injuries and what have you, but Nadal would get beat earlier in tournaments than Federer. Djokovic at now, Mark, is tying or passing all of those Federer, you know, quarterfinal appearances in a major, semifinal appearances in a major. He's not just winning majors. He's doing everything that Federer and Nadal have done.
At the age he's doing it at also, David.
What's he, 36?
Yeah.
I mean, Alcaraz is what, 22?
Is he 22 or 21?
I mean, the second ranked player in the world.
Right. Djokovic, by the way, he turns 37 in May. So for the back half of the season here.
Right. He'll be 37 years old.
You know, I remember when Agassi, I think he was 35, made it to the U.S. Open final. Took a set off Federer. And I thought, wow, that's a hell of an accomplishment. To be battling the guys that you're battling and doing it in your mid-30s. Djokovic isn't battling them. He's beating them. He went 27-1 in the Grand Slams last year. He lost the epic Wimbledon final. And that's it.
We talk about Tom Brady and LeBron kind of resetting how we think about athletes and longevity. You got to throw Joker right in there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. David Sampson, I said it, I don't know if he said it on the show or before we were on the air. He said might be the best. He called him the best individual
athlete of
all time.
Very good case. Dominance, longevity, who you beat.
Who he had to, I mean, to think while Nadal and Federer were winning all those majors that somebody was going to come up at virtually the same time, catch them and pass them, I mean, laughable.
Remarkable.
Yeah.
Yes. It's absolutely remarkable.
I mean, imagine in golf if somebody had caught Tiger and passed Tiger.
While Tiger was doing what he was doing.
Right. While Tiger was only 5 years older than him. But it's tennis, and it's a sport that's basically dead in this country. Where we're changing the tennis courts to pickleball courts.
Yep. Every day, more tennis courts going down for pickleball, David.
So, what do you say, Mark? When he turns 40, people are wondering when Tiger turns 50, will he play on the Champions Tour? Do we have to wonder when Joker turns 40, does he play on the pickleball tour?
Oh boy.
I had to go there.
Sorry. I know you did. I know you did. Just like you had to go to that buffet for the fourth time.
I had to, actually. It was speaking to me.
Well, he had money on the over 3.5 plates.
Listen,
gotta cash that.
It's 3.5 is really not the issue. I have to admit, if you're foolish enough to follow me into a buffet and you put the over under plates at 3.5, you might as well just hand me the money and go to your car. The real question is 4.5.
I'm 3 for sure.
But you've been in 5 years.
Yeah, but it's one plate is just for my meat. You know, the prime rib, the whatever they're shaving, I want that gets its own plate.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
To David's point, though, you haven't been in a long time.
No.
You might have to go update the over-under based on your recent performance.
Well, maybe there's a Mother's Day buffet in my future or an Easter buffet coming up here in 24.
So there's that awkward moment. You're going up to it's meat, and they take the plate out and they go, "Would you like some?" And you go, "Yes." And then they cut you the amount of meat
that you would put on a deli sandwich
that you are to get, and they give it to you, and they hand me the plate, and I grab it, and I don't move it, and I just stand there, and then the stare down begins.
I don't get that far. When they start slicing, like if it's prime rib, and they make that 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch cut,
You give them the old.
I just look at him and say, no. Move that sucker back.
That doesn't work for me.
Why are we wasting both of our time here? You want me to come back 6 times and you keep slicing off little pieces of meat, or do you want to just get rid of me? Give me a hunk, give me the au jus, we'll call it a day.
I kind of let them with the knife. It's kind of like when they're cutting my sideburns, and they keep going up, keep going. There you go. It's the same thing with the knife with the meat. No, keep going. No, keep going.
Say when with the Parmesan cheese on the.
I might as well have the yodel sound at that game on The Price is Right. Yodel. Nope, keep going.
Great game, annoying sound.
Yes, totally agree.
Miller and Moulton, vote on the poll question. When's the last time you've been to a buffet? Go to floridasportsnetwork.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is a wonderful place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, hop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Zerviev broke him up 5-4, serving for the match. This is the quarter, not the semi, by the way, David.
Also, I stand corrected on my Hemi. Lenardi does not have them in, even on the bubble. So my bad on that.
Yeah, Shelby's got him playing Oregon. He's got the last, and he did this morning. This is the guy we always have on our show. Shelby Mass is our.
I'll just defer to him then. I always like to do that, you know?
Well, I mean, we've had this guy, he does it for USA Today.
What's his name again?
Shelby Mast. It's bracketwag.com, bracketwag.com. I like it because it's as simple of a site as there is.
It doesn't have all the advanced.
No, I mean, he's got he'll start putting a little color to it soon here when he's got teams that have locked bids and things like that. But he's got the ACC with 4 right now.
Who are they? Duke, Carolina.
I'm
Clemson?
going through. Yes, Clemson's a 5 seed. And Miami's a 12. He has Miami in a play-in game.
How close is he at Florida State?
Others considered for at-large bids. I'm looking here. I don't even see them. Unless he has them in and I didn't see him. No, he's only got 4. He's got Wake Forest in the first 4 out. He doesn't even have him on his
Florida
State. He's got Florida. I don't see Florida State anywhere on here.
Yeah,
I will say they had some awful early season losses.
He doesn't even have them in the others considered for at-large bids, David.
And right now they're
and
second.
He has UCF on that list, by the way.
And he's right now Florida State's second in the ACC.
Well, they play.
Now, he has Syracuse considered for an at-large bid. He did this last night. This is 1 a.m. is his last update. So
They play UNC in at Florida State on Saturday. That is a huge opportunity. Where does he have Sparty? 7 or 8?
No, last 4 in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He does not have him in a play-in game.
Lenardi's got him as a 7. Too early to tell, I guess. But
I'm doing Jacksonville, Eastern Kentucky tomorrow. Eastern Kentucky with their 5-0 in conference. Best start in conference play since the Carter administration. Hello.
Zerviev serving for the match.
Yep, that's where I'm headed today, Bourbon.
Very good. I think you'll like this shirt, by the way.
Yeah, definitely.
He won.
So it's 3 against 6 in the one semi and 1 against 4 in the other.
Mark, what do you usually pour?
Bourbon?
Yeah.
Woodford.
That's
my
your go-to?
That's the go-to. That's the house pour. That's the well bourbon at house.
Nice.
That's a pretty good bourbon for
It
the
is.
house bourbon. Champagne wishes and caviar dreams.
At the palatial estate. The well pour at the palatial estate.
I am headed to Richmond today, Sonny. I've never been to Eastern Kentucky. I mean, I've been to Lexington, but I haven't been to EKU. Then I'll drive over Friday after the show to Louisville. I think Bellarmine plays at Freedom Hall. I think I'm going to do a game at Freedom Hall.
That's really cool.
I'm kind of excited about it.
Here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Some final thoughts and a pick or two. We were money, by the way, yesterday with our. And Mark Miller said, bet the Lightning. They're not losing 2 in a row on the road. It's too important. They beat the Flyers 6-3. I said, South Carolina getting 5.5 at home against Kentucky. Look out. So, maybe we got a couple of those up our sleeve coming up in about 25 minutes or so before we sign off. So, I'm expecting an announcement today from the Chargers or the Falcons. Is what I'm expecting. Because the NFL, by the way, puts pressure on teams. By about Friday afternoon, they go, yeah, no more news. Okay? The focus needs to be on the 2 conference championship games. So teams got like 48 hours. Harbaugh or Belichick? I'm expecting one of them today.
I think it's going to be Belichick. Somehow I think the Harbaugh thing gets dragged out because why wouldn't it, David? Why would anything go in a timely fashion with Jim Harbaugh? He still has to negotiate another contract with Michigan with, the immunity clause, part of the Michigan deal that he's trying to get.
Yeah, when you put 125 million on the table and the guy doesn't sign it, he ain't signing it. Okay, this just in. He's not coming back. 125 million for a guy whose hobby is driving a John Deere tractor and cutting his grass. And by the way, you guys are very familiar with the cost of living in and around Ann Arbor. 125 million goes pretty far.
It does.
Right. This ain't Naples. Where, don't get me wrong, I think all of us could make it work for 125 million in Naples.
But you'd still be poor.
Well,
I mean, in your neighborhood.
Correct. I mean, you'd be a 1%er for most of the country, just not where you're living. You might be a 40%er. But we digress. Joe Barry out as defensive coordinator of the Packers. So to review, the Eagles have fired both coordinators. And the Packers fired their defensive coordinator.
Which has Packers fans just giddy. That's something they've wanted seemingly for the last 8 weeks of the season. That's all you heard from Packer fan.
So, once again, guys got to walk the plank. Speaking of which, coordinators, apparently Chengelis is very much in the mix in Carolina for the head coaching job. That's a surprise to me. I mean, 1 year as a coordinator, never mind the fact that, to me, I don't care if you've been a coordinator or not. And I'm really surprised that more teams haven't done this. When John Harbaugh got the job, people were like, whoa, hasn't even been a coordinator before. Remember when we had Mike Westhoff on the show?
Yep.
Years ago. And he talked about, I really thought I was going to get the Dolphins job. I think it was after Wanstead. And he said, I really thought I had a good chance. And he explained why he feels more. Now, obviously, he's coming at it with a personal bias here. He was a longtime special teams coach. But he said it is the only coach outside of the head coach that works with guys on offense and defense.
Daily.
And he
has to work with them outside of their position groups.
Right.
So he has to be able to organize his team, if you will,
right,
in conjunction with two other teams, the offense and the defense.
And he was a finalist for the Dolphins job before John Harbaugh was hired in Baltimore. And to Westhoff, he said, to me, it made a lot of sense. I was surprised more special teams coordinators were not considered. We're literally helping to manage guys in every corner of the room. And as a special teams coordinator, we do call some plays. They're just different than obviously offensive and defensive plays. And the more we look at coaches that are successful and not successful, what is coaching? It's leading men or women onto the field. Does it matter I guess it helps if you're really good at calling plays.
But does it? I mean, I don't know. Because then if you're calling plays, then you're only really focused on that side of the ball.
Although you could argue that, think about it, if you're a great defensive coordinator, who knows more about offense than you? You have to stop offense. Now, it doesn't mean you can call plays on offense, but you understand it.
I understand, but I'm not a big fan of a coach being a coordinator. Like, I think McDaniel should give play calling duties up.
I agree.
Because while during the week, his only focus for the most part is on his offense. He's got to establish an offensive game plan. So he's not in with the defensive coordinator, to me, as much as he should be, saying, here's what I know about this offense. Here's what's affected us being stopped. You're not as much of a manager when you're controlling one side of the ball. That's all I'm saying, David.
I agree. I'm not a huge fan. And to me, if you're going to insist on calling the plays on whatever side of the ball it is, like McDermott in Buffalo, he got rid of Leslie Frazier a couple of years ago. He's running the defense. Well, it ain't good enough, dude. So sorry. I got to take it. If I'm the GM, I'm the owner. Okay, we did it your way. It ain't working. I'll keep you as head coach, but you ain't the coordinator anymore. Sorry. Listen, Andy Reid, it works. Tough to imagine somebody can do a better job running the offense than he does. Okay.
And to his credit, the defense for Kansas City's never been better.
Yeah. And he made a change there 5 years ago, brought in a proven coordinator, and has said, what do you need? Because I got the final say on personnel. I'll help you out as much as I can. But anyway, so that's some of the football coaching news going on. Harbaugh had his second interview with the Chargers. We're still waiting. Reports last night were like they're really close. Oh, if you're really close, what's there to negotiate? I mean, seriously. I mean, Jim's only going to come if he gets to handpick the GM.
And the money problem should have, to be honest, the money problem should be, it can't be money to me.
I agree.
At this point, the money's already done. His agent's already taken care. They've already established what the rate is, and both sides are comfortable with that. Now it's just, to me, a matter of power.
Well, it's non-negotiable. If you want him, he's got to have final say. I mean, come on. He ain't leaving. He's got final say where he is now. For you to get him to come to you, okay, you got to give him what he currently has. And if you argue, well, it's the NFL versus college, yeah, he's already done that.
And besides, he's been good at it.
And he can go somewhere else and get it in the NFL. And besides, the Chargers have no leverage here.
Zero.
I am surprised they have not interviewed Pete Carroll. I would have done that if I was the Chargers. I would have interviewed Pete and watched the LA media go nuts over it.
Pete hasn't gotten an interview anywhere.
Don't believe so. Nope.
Which is really surprising to me.
Uh-huh.
Because it sure sounded like he wants to still coach.
He said it.
Yeah.
He said, this was not my decision. I fought like hell to keep this job. They took it away from me.
So that one stuns me.
So pay attention to Chengelis there with Carolina. He's getting a second interview. That would hurt Tampa Bay. Because him and Baker, they established a little something here. That'd be a bummer for the Bucs. It really would. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Final thoughts. All coming up.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Mark Miller. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I didn't check to see if this is 100% accurate, but I saw something that offensive coordinators from 2021 are none of them are on their same team. 0 for 32 from 3 years ago, and it makes sense because guys either get promoted or they move on, they churn and burn.
So there's a concert that just got added to Jacksonville, Extreme, with special guest Living Color.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Extreme. They look like rockers.
Yeah, you know Extreme.
I know Extreme.
Yes. You would know a song.
So if they're coming to Jacksonville, should I go?
I'd go see Living Color. That's Cult of Personality. That's the
I know
black rock.
I know.
Kick ass.
Show was just added. Not only that, it's an intimate setting. It's in the Florida Theater in downtown.
You get so many concerts there that we don't get here. It just kills me.
Yep.
And you got St. Augustine right there that's got like Widespread Panic plays there. Billy Strings is playing there. Just
I wanted to go see John Five, who he's the guitarist for. He's been in a bunch of bands. Right now, he's touring with Motley Crue and stuff.
Gotcha.
He's by himself with his band, and he plays stuff from. He was in Rob Zombie for a while, Marilyn Manson. So, I wanted to go see him. He's got 40 dates that he just released. None of them are in Florida. And I think it's funny because no one down here would go. This area, at least.
Well, this area, but Tampa.
Would maybe be better. But, I mean, he's just doing small venues as it is.
Yes, they are, Canada Relief. They are extremely expensive.
I got to admit, though, they should be.
There's a weekend festival in May in Daytona that I really want to go to.
Oh, the Rock Fest in Daytona?
Yeah. And I know Daytona isn't exactly close, but it's not
4.5.
Could totally do it.
Guillermo, if he doesn't give up play calling, the answer is 0. Dolphins were the worst team in the league on 3rd and 1 this year. Think about that. How could the Dolphins be the worst team in the NFL on 3rd and 1?
That was pretty good when Orlando Alzagari was on it before a lot of other people were on this show. We had to hit the dump button because he said BS on the air.
Yeah, buried in bourbon. I got Zach Bryan tickets for Lauderdale this summer, and they were like $250 a piece. I think it's ridiculous what they cost. Ridiculous. I don't mind paying for a show, but it's when it's costing you a damn car payment to go to a concert, it's a little ridiculous.
Zach Bryan will give you your money's worth, though.
I know.
That's the good news.
I know.
Okay, Bud Light, here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour, 16 until we're out of here. The final segment of the Diamond District bonus hour on this hump day. Thanks so much for being with us. If you missed what's already taken place on the show, well, you missed a lot. I mean, we had 4 guests and a poll question. I mean, that's a full day for us. David Bearman, Pro Football Network in the 7 o'clock hour. Ron Blum, Major League Baseball Hall of Fame voter, covers the sport for the AP. Keith Smith covers the NBA. Angelique Chengelis covers Michigan. You know, that whole Harbaugh story. Or as she calls it, Harbaugh.
That's fantastic.
I like it.
It really is.
So if you missed any of those interviews, go to floridasportsnetwork.com and download what you missed.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Another lackluster day. But we do start in 1848 when James Marshall finds gold in Sutter's Mill in California, beginning the California Gold Rush. 1922, David, the Eskimo pie is patented today. In Iowa, of all places.
Interesting.
Not by an Eskimo either. 1935, the first canned beer is sold. Tailgating went way up after today.
Was it in Wisconsin?
It was not. It was Kruger's Cream Ale. I don't have a state. But Kruger's Cream Ale was your first canned beer. 1935.
I'm sorry, Richmond, Virginia, I think.
Okay.
Is where it took place.
Huh. Jackie Robinson was elected to the Hall today in 1962. Super Bowl 16 was today in 1982 at the Pontiac Silverdome. The Niners defeat Cincinnati 26-21. Joe Montana's your MVP. Apple unveils the Macintosh personal computer today in 1984. No idea how that would work out for them.
It seems risky.
David Duval becomes the third PGA Tour player to shoot a 59. Did it PGA West today in 1999.
And a very awkward celebration. It kind of looked like, who's the owner of the Clippers there? Ballmer. Remember the
Yes.
video of Ballmer on the stage with Jobs and Gates, and how Ballmer's just
Going
moving.
nuts. Yes.
Just almost like Elaine and Seinfeld. Just it wasn't coordinated. Duval makes a 6-footer for birdie on 18 for 59, and it's just the arms and the legs weren't really moving together. It was weird.
He was not John Harbaugh post-game is what you're telling me?
No.
And today in 2011, Adele released her second album called 21. It would win Album of the Year.
It holds up.
It does. Her
Yeah,
music holds up. She's terrific.
Yeah, she is.
Ernest Borgnine, Oral Roberts, Shannon Tate, Warren Zevon, and John Belushi all born today.
Wow.
For our mothers, David, yours and mine, Neil Diamond is 83 today.
Take a moment.
Rob Dibble is 60. Mary Lou Retton is 56. Tim Biakabatuka is 50. I really just wanted to say his name. And Sean McVay is 38. What did I miss, David?
He's 38.
Yeah.
Seriously? He's accomplished all that, and he's 38.
And considering retirement.
Right.
Talk about a guy who's easy to hate. My goodness. 6 years ago today, we sentenced Larry Nassar.
Yeah, I had it, and I just didn't want to even go there.
I know. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Disney purchased Pixar today, 18 years ago, $7.4 billion. So.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Julian Navaz. He's from Paris. Made a trip to the States. He was in New Orleans with a friend. Went to Cape Canaveral, watched a rocket launch, went to New Orleans, and decided he would go to the Crater of Diamonds Park in Arkansas. He heard about it and said, I want to see this before I leave the country. So he got to the park at 9 o'clock and started to dig. He turned up a 7.46 carat brown diamond.
Oh, come on.
No. 7.5.
Wow.
Yeah. Good for him. Named it after his fiance, too. Isn't that cute?
Oh, that's so nice.
So sweet. For the bad, we go to Fort Myers, where two men are wanted for stealing a cooler worth of $700 worth of beer from a downtown Fort Myers bar. The incident happened at the location of Space 39 Art Bar and Martini Lounge around 2:07 on Sunday. Fort Myers police has pictures of the two men on social media. They have not yet been located. If you leave a cooler of beer,
yeah, I think that's free game.
I mean, if they went, it says that maybe they went inside and took it.
Oh, $700 worth, though.
Right.
I mean, that's not, you make it sound like, it left a little cooler that, you'd bring to the picnic. I mean, that's come on now.
Finally, the ugly. We go to American Airlines flight that was supposed to go from Phoenix to Austin.
Okay.
The flight was delayed after a passenger had to be removed for having excessive gas.
I will say, it is a problem. People feel as if, well, I'm on a plane, I'll just let it rip. Let me tell you, that's rude. Come on now. Excessive gas, does that mean that implies more than once?
According to a passenger that was on the plane while the airplane was still at the gate, an audibly disgruntled man and maybe hungover man let one go.
Oh, boy.
And when someone said something about it, he said, you thought that was rude. How about this smell? And let another one rip.
What is this, like Dangerfield?
In
Caddyshack 2? I mean, what are we doing? Caddyshack? What are we doing here?
He was removed from the plane.
For excessive gas.
Uh-huh.
Well, I'm glad they put it on the list of TSA violations.
And that is the good, the bad, and the terribly smelly ugly. On today, 124-24.
Oh, that's right. We got one of those happening today. We got 8 games in the NBA. Interesting night. Heater home for Memphis. Rozier got to town last night, so I would expect him to play tonight for the Heat.
They're big favorites, 9.5 points.
So the Bucks are hosting Cleveland. Do we know who's coaching Milwaukee tonight?
Yeah, their assistant.
Okay, so it's not Doc Rivers, who
Not
has
yet.
not yet officially been named coach. Reported by CNN, which is interesting in and of itself. A, do they still cover sports? B, so they broke away from the New Hampshire primary last night to let us know. I mean, I would have loved that breaking news. We have breaking news. Doc Rivers, the new coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, blah, 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 blah.
We can confirm that Donald Trump will win New Hampshire, and Doc Rivers is the new coach of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Right.
More with Wolf Blitzer coming after.
Exactly. Back to you, Anderson, in Nashua, or wherever the heck they were. Once again, they're doing this Wednesday night NBA on ABC thing. Phoenix, Dallas, 8:30 tonight on ABC.
David, I know it's an area that we are not supposed to go on this show, but I have to. There's one NBA game that I don't know how you don't take the underdog. The Detroit Pistons are 3.5-point favorites at home tonight against Charlotte.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now, Lowry's probably not going to play. They just traded away
I know.
Rozier. Charlotte is bad.
They're really bad. But if you're going to lose $20,
Trent, let me guess. You're betting $5 on the Pistons tonight, aren't you?
I'm hearing dead air. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
That's a good point. So one other NBA game televised tonight, 9:30, if you haven't gotten enough of Wemby, Oklahoma City and the Spurs tonight.
They're pouring that on.
Boy, are they ever. Hey, big one for the Gators tonight at home against Mississippi State. They need to start winning games. And 8:30 SEC Network, they're home for the Bulldogs. Canes, 7 o'clock on the Deuce against Notre Dame on the road. Miami could use a win of any kind.
Absolutely. Even though it's a bad team, you need to win that game. And
Panthers
South
are home
Florida's on the road at Temple, by the way, as well.
I'm sorry, what was that?
South Florida's taking on Temple tonight on the road.
Got it. They're having a nice season. He's doing a really good job. So the Panthers are home tonight against Arizona. One of 7 NHL games. The one that's nationally televised is Carolina-Boston at 7:30. If you're into hockey, that'll be a good watch.
Take the Bruins. Carolina expected to go with their backup goaltender tonight. I like the Bruins in that one. You're only laying $1.45, which isn't heavy odds to take the best team in hockey to win a game.
By the way, Chicago and Seattle, if you're a late night owl and you want some hockey, 10 o'clock TNT, Chicago and Seattle. Did they get the memo that Bedard's not playing with a broken jaw? I mean, that's one of those games you schedule 3 months ago, 2 months ago, a month ago. You don't schedule now.
Handful of ranked teams on the road tonight in college hoop, David. New Mexico's on the road laying 8.5 against San Jose State. Colorado State dog on the road at Nevada. Marquette, huge favorite at DePaul. Illinois, 2.5-point favorite at Northwestern. Northwestern's done a hell of a job at home taking on ranked opponents. And Florida Atlantic is a 12.5-point favorite at Rice tonight. Auburn on the road at Alabama. Bama's the 3.5-point favorite against the 8th-ranked Tigers.
All right. I would take a bunch of road teams tonight. First off, FAU has been struggling. Even when they were getting by, that's what they're doing. They're getting by. On the road in conference play, laying 12.5.
Right.
I would take Rice in the points tonight, number one. Number two, Illinois is going to lose at Northwestern.
No. I don't see it.
Yeah. And Northwestern's getting points at home. Remember, they beat Purdue there. So Northwestern's winning. I'm taking those points tonight. DePaul with the interim coach, Mark. Can't get any worse than they were with Stubblefield.
No.
So I'm taking the 17.5 tonight at home against Marquette. I'm not calling for the upset.
No, I know.
Taking the points. All right. And I will call for the upset. They're on a roll. They're feeling good about themselves. They got nationally ranked this week. I'm going to take San Jose State as my upset of the night, and I'm getting 8.5 against Richard Pitino in New Mexico. The Lobos are feeling it, just like Kentucky was feeling it last night going to South Carolina. By the way, I'm betting good money on a lot of bad teams here. I mean, 3 of those 4 teams I mentioned, they're below 500. They are not good. DePaul, Rice, San Jose State, I'm crazy. But I'm just saying, I'm taking points tonight.
And I'm just saying, probably Auburn, Alabama, best game to watch tonight.
7:30 on ESPN.
That's a pretty good college basketball game right there. I know it sounds like a pretty good college football game, but actually, Auburn's entertaining to watch, and Alabama's good at home.
What's the equivalent of 4th and 31 for the Auburn basketball team? Is that like a 60-foot shot at the buzzer?
No, it was the Final Four a couple of years ago when Bruce Pearl was beside himself because they
got screwed.
They totally got hosed.
To have an officiating mistake take place down the stretch of a Final Four game.
And Tony Bennett's Cavaliers won it that year.
Yeah, well, and that was also the year that they hit the miracle shot to force overtime to beat Purdue in the Sweet 16. I mean, that really was a magic carpet ride national title for Virginia. But I'm just curious tonight, Mark, what is the ending that could happen for Alabama tonight to beat Auburn that would equal 4th and 31?
Just a half-court shot.
Okay. I'm thinking it might even have to be about 60 feet. Have a great rest of your hump day. We will do this tomorrow. We'll have no idea who will be on the show.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents.